recording. I'm letting you know. Why would you be having trouble getting on Zoom? Do you have different accounts that you sign in as that you might be having issues with? Like, do you only use one or do you use more than one account?
I think there's probably two accounts. And so one is actually my husband's because it's an account where we can have a meeting that's long. And then one is what I've downloaded so that I can talk to people like you.
Okay. I find sometimes that could be an issue. I have 3 different accounts I use. And when you're in the wrong account, the one that you're trying to use, sometimes it won't connect if there's something else that's planned for that time or that's connected at that time. I'm sorry, my dog seems to think that my chatting with you guys is me saying hello. So that could be one thing. And one thing I discovered is that when you're using Zoom, you need to, when you want to change account, you actually have to completely sign out and then sign in again through Google. In the handouts, there's in my handouts, I'm letting people in, so I'm looking up there. There's one of the handouts that says Zoom training, and I described the whole process of how to sign out and sign in detail. It seems like you can switch accounts from inside of Zoom, but that doesn't work very well. So that would be one possibility. So when you get to the handouts, click on that. It's like 20-page PDF or something, and it's like it's a presentation that turned into a PDF. And I have screenshots of how to sign out and sign into a new account. Other than that, connectivity issues, I don't know about that. If you have a pretty stable connection, that might be an issue. A lot of times when your connection starts getting unstable, you start getting a message. What's the message you get? Oh, I can't remember it right now, but it tells you.
Unstable.
Yeah, it just says unstable connection, boom, and it drops you. But you're not saying the problem is your case being dropped, but actually getting on.
Well, I get on, but then it tells me incorrect password. So it's funny. I mean,
oh, okay. That's a different conversation. In here, you shouldn't need a password for our classes, for example, because the way our classes are set up, if you click on the link I provide, which only people in our class would get, that lets you straight into the waiting room. So you shouldn't have to do a password. Now, if you are attending by phone, then the phone does require the password. And there's something called the meeting ID and there's something called the password, and that you have to enter both numbers, and maybe some people enter them the wrong way or something. But the password wouldn't be your Zoom password. It would be a password provided by the person who is setting up the meeting. So if you have a meeting set up, not by us, by someone else who sends a password, it's that individual password you're requested. So it's not, to access Zoom, you need your own password to be able to enter Zoom. But then to enter each course, you need the password for that individual session set up by that individual person. And those passwords were set up because of problems that when Zoom began, that everyone, not began, but for schools where everyone began using it at once because of COVID, we began to get problems with Zoom bombers that would come in, just drop in, and if they could just come in without a password, they would start doing miscellaneous, nasty, and horrible things in their little space. So now we have all these protections, and one of them is that you have to have a password unless you click on the direct link that I sent you. So those do not need passwords.
Okay, I think I understand now where I went wrong. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Well, good. So I'm always glad to help.
Thanks.
So I am still admitting people in. I need to run. I'm noticing that I have the wrong glasses here. I'm going to run and get my other glasses. Give me 1 sec, everyone. Go ahead and make sure to sign in meanwhile to the chat saying that you are here. All right, right glasses on, we can continue. How's everyone doing? I am not doing well. One of our classmates passed away. Beloved student who had been with us in my classes, in my memories for years. And I kept saying, I don't know, 5 years, maybe 3. I actually went and checked and I have emails from him from exactly 5 years ago. So some of you might have known him, King Strauss. He's in all of my Photoshop classes. He was in this math class, so he was here last week with us. And
He was in a number of my classes too.
I am
I remember him from last week. My gosh.
Yeah, he seemed, alert and healthy, and
That's what shocked me the most. I am.
Yeah, you know what? I worked with him at Casa Dorinda, and I've been gone from there for 2 years, but I was so happy to see him in your classes, and he looked so healthy all the time, at least last year.
I know.
So we just don't know, we live each day. Yeah, thank you for telling us.
I was wondering what to say, but first of all, our community is those of us who are in class so tight. We see each other so often. And I got the news yesterday. I was teaching and I took a 5-minute break and I checked my emails like I always do to not fall too far behind. And it was devastating. Those of you who were in my class last night know that I just broke down. It's King, he was sitting right there for the last 5 years in my classes, being my timekeeper, reminding me to take breaks, and it's one of you guys. And I just noticed how attached I am to you all, and it just made me really sad. So
I'm so sorry. I know that you look so tired and I didn't know what was going on, and now I understand. Yeah, I'm so sorry.
So take care, you guys. I'm sorry, please. I don't know. The message was from one of our other class participants who isn't here yet today. So I guess she knows him outside. Yeah, it was pneumonia, but from at this time of year in life, pneumonia would probably be COVID, right? They don't know. So just be careful. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing, Diana.
Yes, thank you, Diana. Yeah.
Well, if he were just a student that no one knows, but I know that so many of you guys have interacted with him that I figured you might want to know. And if someone knows him on a more personal level, if there's a service or anything, I don't know, please let me know.
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, that's one thing that's so sad. I've had a few friends that have died, and there's, there can't be a service. I mean, sometimes they do things on Zoom, but it's just sort of like, what? It's just all over, and it's hard.
Yeah, we just need to celebrate his life. He was such a joyous, happy person, and from what I knew of him personally, and he lived really well, so
Yeah.
we celebrate that.
I think that was one of the harshest things. That he was in my class last week when you hear him, and he sounded fine. He was just a typical old King.
Yeah.
So, Diana, hi, this is Justine. Does anybody know how old he was?
I'm sure he was in his 80s. He might have been 90. Yeah, he was very young for his age.
Yeah, he clearly he was old, but he worked, walked, acted, and behaved very young. So anyway.
I've had pneumonia 3 times, and I know it just comes on suddenly. I mean, one day I'm fine, I feel a little off, and the next day I'm in the hospital. Wow. And so I know it can go really fast.
Anyway, I was just noticing how attached I am to all you guys. So
thank you.
Thank you for caring so much about your students. It's obvious, it's clear that you really do, and that's really touching to me. Thank you for caring so much. Wow. I know, well, I worked at Friendship Center, so, I worked with elderly people all the time, and we always counted it as sort of a triumph when, in a way, when someone went quickly like that, we're like, oh, they were just here last week, and now they're gone, because it means that they didn't go through a long, painful process, you know? In a way, it's like, wow, just last week he was here and now
Yeah.
he's gone. So it means he didn't have a long suffering
Yeah.
period. So in a way, we can think of that maybe as a positive, but certainly always sorry to lose someone that we care about.
It's a great point of view because, you know, we might be more prepared if we know ahead of time. For the person who's going through it, it's probably better if it's quick, right? So,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
okay.
And Heidi, it's nice to see you here.
I know. It's nice to see you again, too.
I'm not going to be visible today. I'm just not feeling up to it, but glad to be here with y'all.
Yes.
Okay. So, let's move on with
Just continue.
and keep moving forward. So I haven't connected with my other computer yet, so give me a second. Okay.
Diana, I'm not on your chat list.
As in you have not written in your chat list or what?
I don't see my name there.
Okay, so you probably mean the participants. Maybe the computer you're connecting with. Are you on an iPad? I don't see you.
It was on it last week. I'm not on it this week.
Yeah, and you signed in, and I saw your name when you signed in.
Yep.
He's on
there
my
you are.
list.
I
He's
see
on my
that.
list.
I see your name up there, JZ Jonathan Ziegler.
You
Yes,
see it? Okay.
I
All right.
see it.
I don't see it on mine.
Yeah, and so everyone, that's the participants list, and then the chat list would be to click on the chat and write, I am here. And some of you view it all the time, and some of you don't. Some of you just say you're here, and that's it. You don't need to have that one up the whole time. When there's questions that I answer, I'll let you know what question I'm answering. But the participants list is the one you need to have on so that you can click on yes, no, or fast, you know, raise your hands and things like that. So, yeah. So last class, I asked you guys to discover or to figure out what size of hard drive you would need if you would want backups. And then I also asked you to identify your OS, which many of you know that already. You've done that quite a few times in different classes, but if you're new to this class, I needed to be able to know if you have a newer or an older one when you're asking me questions. I'm sorry, let me turn the sound off. I don't know what's happening. Yeah, delivery. When delivery people arrive, the dog goes crazy. Forget it when they come and check the gas and those things. Wow. Anyway, so I was recounting. I was reviewing, I guess, what we did last week, last class. I always say last week. You always know that. Last week, last class means next week, next class in my case. And then we started beginning to identify. Sorry, I'm really distracted.
Deanna, why don't we take like a 10-minute break? That would be good. And get a cup of coffee. I actually have to leave at 9:30. I have a doctor's appointment, but it might be better.
I don't need 10 minutes, but can you give me 2 minutes? I'll be back in a second.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. So Heidi, can I ask you, what are you doing now? You're not at Casa Grande anymore? Hi, Justine. Sorry, the voice out of nowhere.
I know. Well, hi everybody. You know, I was there for 18 years, and then I pretty much now I'm kind of retired. And I'm
Right. Good for you.
yeah, I'm taking a lot of
Congratulations.
classes, and from Deanna, I've already taken her iOS, you know, their operating system a couple of years ago, and I
Mhm.
thought, you know, you learn something new each time, and
Sure.
yeah, and so that's what I'm doing. But I still live real close by, and I live by the Friendship Center, and
Oh, you live right there. Oh, nice.
I'm just off of Coast Village. And what you guys do over there is just amazing, you know, with Heidi Holly, and she's still there, isn't she?
Oh, she'll always be there. Um, I'm not there anymore. I
Oh,
I was laid off in April. So at the start of
oh,
this whole thing, yeah, I'm no
oh,
longer working there. I mean, they've had to close down their operations because
yes,
obviously, you can't have elderly people all congregating together right now in one
yes,
place.
yes.
So they're
Yeah.
doing as much as they can with online activities. They're
Oh,
doing,
sure.
discussions and games and exercise sessions on Zoom.
Yeah.
They're
You know,
doing really kind of a heroic job of still providing as much content as they can, providing services
yeah.
online.
Tell everybody what they do. It's a wonderful nonprofit
Oh,
for
sure. Yeah. If other people are hanging out listening.
well,
Um,
it,
so yeah, Friendship Center is an adult daycare. And some people don't like that term because they think it sounds like children. But I think it really is the best way to describe what it is, right? It's like dropping,
mhm,
mom and dad or grandma and grandpa off at daycare because, a place where they can be during the day when their families have to be, working or doing other things so they can be supervised and have good, social activities. Yeah, you're right. It really is an amazing thing. And I wish that we had more of them. Every
yes.
community needs to have a center like
Yes,
that.
for people that have memory loss and they're low income, and maybe they
Yeah.
don't have families, and there's Casa Dorinda, which is more of a high-end retirement community, but it's good to know that there's that in our community. And there's two locations, one in Goleta and then one in Montecito, and
Hmm.
they do really good work. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
with the COVID, everything's upside down.
Right. Right. But you're right. In normal times, yes, it's a wonderful thing for families who, like you said, it's um, the services are provided on an affordable basis, sliding scale depending on a family's income level. So yeah, they really do work with people to make sure that they can afford it. Um, and it's a way for people to keep their elder loved one at home on, an affordable basis rather than having to place them in a long-term care facility or hire hourly in-home help, which is really expensive also. So yeah, a lot of people think because it's located in Montecito, they think, oh, that's just for rich people. It must cost a lot of money. But yeah, the thing is, hardly anybody who attends that center actually lives in Montecito.
That's
People
right.
who live
Yeah.
all other areas, and most of whom actually qualify as low income. So yeah, it's definitely good to get the word of mouth out there so that people know about it. So if and when they come to a point in life where they need those services, they don't have to be sort of scrambling to try to find help when they're already struggling.
That's right. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, so Heidi, you were at Casa Dorinda, and then when you retired, you left. And I think you have it backwards.
That's true. Most people, yes.
You mean I never left? I know. Well, you know what? There's like 350 people that live there, and I was in activities, so I did all the fun stuff with everybody. I taught people how to paint, and
Oh,
we did
and
all the
they did
events.
hearts for Friendship Center's big fundraising event. Is
Yeah.
part of it is selling these handmade paper mache hearts, decorated and painted. Anyway, so Heidi would coordinate that effort to get them painted. Hi, Deanna. You're back.
She's back.
Just
Nice
chatting
to
while you're
go
gone.
again. Thank you for letting me bow out for a second here.
Of course.
Maybe more than a second. I have to say that that I want to keep going with the class so that I can just kind of disconnect for everything. So thank you for the nice conversation and all the nice supportive things you all are talking about and doing. And let's move forward with Mac OS level 2. The Mac comes with programs and applications that allow you to do a lot without having to actually add any other kind of applications. And the idea of this class is to teach you how to work those applications. Now, beyond that, some of you guys might have downloaded other things. You might have downloaded Google Chrome. You might have downloaded Mozilla Firefox. Those are two different kind of browsers. You might have downloaded Office for Word, Excel, PowerPoint, those kinds of things. You might have downloaded, there's so many things that you could have, that people have used for years, that are the industry standard, that you might have used when you, that you might be using at work or when you were working, and then you brought that back because you know that into your Mac. And that's wonderful. Many programs are available beyond what Mac brings, but this class is going to focus on teaching you how to use better that which comes with the Mac, and for you to know how to use it more completely. A lot of the times people use only one little bit of the computer, and there's a lot more that you don't know is there. If you have a Windows computer, or you had a Windows computer, you might have done email one way and you kind of imported that way to do it in here into your Mac, or things like that. And I'm going to show you the Mac version, and then you can decide if it works the same or better or worse for you. And that at least you know how to take real advantage of all of the many of the, not all, I can't cover everything in one class, but all of the possibilities that actually come with the purchase of a Mac. There's a very powerful system of calendars and mail and contacts and just like all that kind of information that interacts with each other. And as of the invention of the iPhones and iPads, and as of maybe at this point 5 years ago even, the onset of the iCloud, all of these pieces of equipment that you own can be connected and have the same information across the board, as long as you're using the Mac apps. And when I mean that is that, yes, you can still adapt, and with a lot of other connections, use other apps. But for the most part, the whole iCloud system, where what you do in one device shows up in all your other devices, that happens automatically if all the products are Apple. There's ways to trick that and to make that work for an Android. There's ways to make that happen for other things, but that's additional work, versus if you have Apple products, it all kind of works rather seamlessly. And I'm going to tell you how seamlessly or not, but supposedly rather seamlessly, in the sense that if you don't change any of the settings or preferences that are there, then the default settings tend to be that all your equipment communicates seamlessly. Now, you might interrupt that process unknowingly by having made certain preference choices where you take a photo on one thing and suddenly you don't see it on the other. But if your choices were not any different than the default choices, then if you take a photo on the phone, it would show up on your computer and on your iPad. And I always talk about this third place, the iCloud. And there's a lot of, well, where is that iCloud? I have no idea. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about that iCloud place today, because then you can decide how much of that stuff that you put on your iPad, your iPhone, or your computer you actually want to transfer through the iCloud to your other devices. In fact, at this point, if you start writing a document in, say, writing a letter or a report on Pages, which is the equivalent of Office Word, and you save it to the default place Pages wants to save itself to, it'll be into the cloud. And then you can pick up that same document from Pages on your iPad. Well, I always talk about waiting at a doctor's appointment. I don't know, I have some trauma there about spending hours and hours at doctors waiting, and especially the kids' doctors. Like every time I take the kids with all these little infected kids running around, you'd sit there for 45 minutes before they'd call you in. Anyway, sit at the doctor's office and wait. And And then you could just pick up your iPad and keep writing that from the same sentence you were in, keep writing your article, save it, and then go on to your, while you're waiting for someone at Starbucks to show up, keep writing. And then when you go home, you keep writing and finish it at home. So that's how seamless it can be. Now, that same system is beginning to happen across many other programs. So if you are into the whole system with Microsoft Office, if you're into the whole system with Google, it kind of is working that way across the board, right? But for some of those systems, you really need to have a Wi-Fi connection and things like that, versus for the Mac, because of how it's set up, you can keep working on your computer even if you don't have a Wi-Fi connection present. And then the moment you enter Wi-Fi, that information kind of spreads itself across all the other devices that you own, right? So that's how seamless it is, and how thoughtless in a good way, meaning you don't need to put any thought into it. You just kind of use it as it comes. And it is a very smooth process. Now, for many of you, it's not that smooth because preference has been changed. So I'm going to show you more about the iCloud, and then we're going to inspect all those preferences. And then we're going to begin to see how that works, whether if you write in one thing, it shows up in the other. Now, some of you might not have any other device other than your Mac or your iPad or your iPhone, but the majority of the students here have at least 2 devices, which usually would be an iPhone and something else. Now, I know, for example, Kip, who's not here today, doesn't have an iPhone. He has an Android. And Victoria, are you here today? Lonnie and Victoria? They're not here. Victoria also has an Android. Is anyone else here who doesn't have an iPhone? What's that?
Yeah, I do have an Android also.
Justine. Okay, great. So is that it? Anyone else?
I
No?
have both.
Okay. So, and I know, Norma, did you say something? Oh, I thought I heard.
I have both.
Well, yeah.
I have multiple
Norma,
ones, but
Norma has multiple devices of all kind. In fact, she teaches the handheld devices classes. So, you know, if you want to know more in depth about many other devices, please take her handheld devices class. But if you're inside, so maybe Justine, for people who have other devices who want to know more about how to interact with Apple and with your other devices, you might want to consider Norma's handheld devices class, which probably won't happen till the fall, right? You're not teaching in summer too, right, Norma?
it's not available until spring.
Oh, until the spring.
But they can email me and I can give them handouts from last term.
Okay. So now, that said, there is still a way for you, Justine, through your phone to connect to some of this, to quite a bit of this goodness. But as long as you have a Mac computer, which you do have, and that everyone here has, then at the very least, you have the connection between your computer and the cloud, right? So that system is working. So now I'm going to explain more about the benefits or pros and cons of all of that. And we discovered in last class during macOS level 1, and those of you who took the introduction-ish, which was in the first summer session, you discovered whether your documents that you always thought were on your computer, about half the class discovered that nope, their stuff was not on the computer. It looks like it's on your computer, but it's actually residing in the cloud. And the class split about halfway. And so more and more as time goes by. In fact, my in-person classes, it was more like 3/4 of the way most people had their stuff on the cloud. I was surprised to see it was only about halfway in here. Maybe if you still remember, if you do remember that, if you can vote, if you discovered that your documents, desktop and documents folders were in your computer, not in the cloud, please do a little blue raised hand. And if you discovered that your documents were on the cloud, you see them on the computer, but they were on the cloud, please do a little green check mark so that I'll have blue hands and green check marks over there. And if you don't know or don't remember, that's fine. I'm not gonna, keep prodding. We're gonna discover that as we go through this exploration today. But if you remember that your stuff was on your computer give a little hand raise. And if you remember that your stuff is on the cloud, give a little check mark. And for those of you who are raising your hands physically, I sometimes see you, I sometimes don't. I have enough students that I have to keep switching to different screens. So go ahead, and if you can remember, especially when I'm sharing the screen and I don't see you all, can you make sure to click on the yes, no, or raised hands that's under the participants column. So turn on the participants, which if you turn on and turn off again, if you click and click again, it turns on and off. So basically cut it a third time if you've turned it off. See your participants the whole time. And then down there is where you have the raised blue hand. When I say raised blue hand, I'm talking about the computer blue hand. And then see the yeses and the nos. Okay, so right now, as far as who has raised their hand, there's about an even split. Yeah, I remember this class being like, oh, well, that's more evenly split than before, than my in-person classes. So now when I, oh, there, Norma in the chat wrote her email. It says device questions, Norma. It's the one chat before the last. And her email is Egglin, EGGLIN @sbcc.edu. So for questions about non-Apple devices, go ahead and email her. Thank you, Norma, for providing that service to all of us. And that place that I talk about when I say the cloud is actually let me backtrack. The one thing is the cloud, one thing is the iCloud. And remember, I told some of you guys, if you wanted some more information about, to go read something in the handouts that I pointed out last week, the different cloud. Now that wasn't specific homework, so if you did or didn't do it, it's fine. I'm gonna talk about it more, but you might begin to have an idea had you had a chance to peruse some of the articles. And the cloud itself, the cloud, not the little I in front, but the cloud. When people talk about the cloud, that it's not a particular place, but got it, Sam, thanks. But when all, and this is a very generic explanation, all computers that connect to the internet, right, at some point they have they get information on their computer from something that's on the net, right? And what is that on the net, on the internet, the World Wide Web, the cloud? It's basically that place technically that doesn't exist, where all the networks of all the connecting computers interact, right? Now, there is a more specificity to that, which is that those things really aren't up in the middle of nowhere. They actually are places, they exist. It's not like, you know, the actual universe holds information. But I always define, and sometimes I have photos of it. I should look up for some photos here, but if you can imagine miles long buildings with miles long corridors, and in those corridors there's nothing but stacks and stacks of hard drives, one on top of the other, actual physical hard drives. Okay, so this isn't some foo-foo place. These are actual existing places that you need to kind of drive to do your job, to tend from one side to the other. These are vast stores of information, and they exist in places like deserts, and they exist kind of in places all over the world. And these are the places where ultimately a lot of the information that we call is in the cloud truly is. When your information goes up to the cloud, it ends up in some physical hard drive somewhere in one of these places, but not in one. It's not like one of them holds your information. Rather, and I always draw this on the blackboard. I think I should make some drawings to be able to pull up here to show you. But you know, you know those science beakers that they're all connected in the bottom, and you pour water into one, it kind of fills across all of them, kind of thing. And don't know how to. I would have to find an image like that on the internet to show it to you, because my drawings are more efficient than my words. Anyway, so that's kind of how information plugs in to these hard drives. Where there's space, it fills up, right? And your information might be a little bit in this hard drive, a little bit in that hard drive, a little bit in the hard drive. I mean, it's not like it all goes and sits in one in hard drive, that if it dies, all your stuff is lost. Rather, it's a connection amongst a whole host of places where your information gets partialed out, so to say. And there's backups to that and backups to that, and they all have redundancy and stuff like that. So in fact, if one thing dies, it doesn't lose your information, right? So that's a very cartoonified description of how it works, if you want. But it gives you the idea of what happens, and that information you can retrieve from anywhere. So if you're at home and you're in your computer, you retrieve it. But then if you are in, I don't know, traveling in Italy, or these days you can't go too far, but if the day that we can go far away and be in some other place, then when you want to connect to your information and you don't have your computer with you, and you don't have your phone with you because maybe it's a different system and who knows you can still always get anyone's computer in the whole wide world and sign into the iCloud. And I'll explain what the iCloud is opposed to the cloud. And there you go. All the information that you had is sitting up in that space that you can still retrieve. So it's independent of your devices. Now, that's the big description of the cloud. But then the iCloud is companies who kind of harness a little bit of that cloud, right? And call it theirs and put their brand on it. And sometimes it's because they built those big places in the middle of the desert, and they are literally their devices. Other times companies build those things, and then they rent out portions for companies to call them their little bit of the cloud, right? So their little bit of the cloud has brand names, and the Apple's little bit of the cloud is called the iCloud. So to get into the iCloud, it's a membership service. You gotta, you're part of a membership, you pay a fee for a club, and only you can get in and no one else can get in. So the iCloud is the Apple's membership only piece of the cloud and holds Apple's devices information, okay? As much as the Google Drive is Google's portion of the cloud, and that's where I'm holding your guys' handouts, and all of our pipeline and school information goes to the Google Cloud, so to say, and it's called the Google Drive. And if you use Microsoft's cloud, it's everyone has their own brand name. And at the end of this course, when I'm talking about backing up to the cloud, I am talking about signing into some other company's piece of the cloud. And what they do is they hold backups for your information. And so you pay them a fee or whatever it is that it costs, and you do a backup of your information onto their little portion of the cloud, right? So that's kind of how you have all these other names. But in the end, it's just like anything else. Your material, your information, your files, your whatever is provided by a company. And if you have access to that membership, you get to use their space in the cloud. Now that access to the iCloud, which is the Apple piece of the cloud, is through what's called the Apple ID. So that Apple ID is kind of your, that's your membership name, right? It's your account name. It's your Apple ID. Those things are all equivalent. And if you want to go see what's up in the cloud, in the Apple cloud, you need to have an Apple ID and its password. Now, it's very easy to find out your Apple ID. You can all find it out just by picking up your phone. I'm going to show you in case you don't really distinguish which is your Apple ID. Well, you can just, if you have a phone, find out. For Justine, you can do this on the computer. I'll show people how to do it in the computer later. But basically, if you go to the cloud, to your phone, and tap on the icon for system, for settings, the little, and I'm not I'm just going to do this temporarily for the little gears icon and click on that. Go ahead and bring your phones or our iPads if you need to do this. Then at the very, very top, you'll see your name, right? So there where you see your name, if you click on your name, right under your name, there's an email address. That is your Apple ID, okay? There's an email address right under your name. So you need to go to settings and then click on the very top thing that appears under your name. And there it is under your name. You have an email address. Did everyone find that email address? Now, it's possible that it's your current email address. It's possible that it's an old email address that doesn't work anymore. It doesn't matter because it really isn't your email. It's just whatever was entered when someone said, what's your email? When you purchased your computer, if you didn't set it up yourself, if you're at a store, when the person who's helping you gets to the place where you need to create your Apple ID, I think people were forgetting their Apple ID. So I don't know how come it happened because before it used to be usernames and stuff. But at some point they decided that they'll ask you for your Apple ID, you enter your Apple ID, they ask you something for your email and they enter in there and that stays frozen in stone as your Apple ID, even when you stop using that AOL or that Cox or that whatever account, right? It's just a name in the end at that point. So some people have an old account for email that is still their Apple ID. Now, this doesn't take you to that email address necessarily. It's just that is the access to the cloud. And then they ask you to type in a password. You type in a password, and that password, I wish they made more of it when they ask you that in the stores, because that password is your entire access to your membership in the cloud, to all your stuff that from then on is in the cloud, okay? So if you don't remember that password, your phone, your computer remembers it for you sometimes. And then after that, whenever you try to come up with it yourself, it's been so long ago, you forgot about it. Because other than your computer or your phone not needing it anymore because it's been memorized, you don't think you need it for anything else. And guess what? You do need it if you don't have your devices on hand. For example, the proverbial flood that took everything away, or you just left it at home. How to access your information, you would still need that Apple ID and that password so that you can still access that stuff in the cloud through someone else's computer. Or if you lose all your devices because you need to buy new devices and bring all that information down into your new device, you still need that password because that new device doesn't remember your password, right? So my point is, if you know your Apple ID and your password, you're fine. If you know your Apple ID, if you don't know your Apple ID, now you know it because I just showed you where to find it. But I cannot help you with the password. And if you do not remember your password and you ask your son, your grandkids, all the people who helped you set it up, you can't go ask the store person because they won't know. If you don't have little Post-it notes or any other system for remembering it, worst case scenario, there's a handout on my handouts folder telling you how to work to retrieve or to find or maybe figure out how to get your, if you set it up correctly where it sends the information to somewhere else, it's not a complicated process. But if not, it is, and you need to talk to Apple people to be able to retrieve your access to your account. Yes, so
it's the same, the password is just the same as a password for your email account, right? Or
maybe, and possibly when you were asked to put in, you know, when you bought that equipment, and for some of you it's 2 months ago, for some of you it's 5 years ago, at that point, you maybe put in the same password you used for your email, maybe. In which case, try that one out. But you might have changed your password by now for your email. And since this isn't your email account, your email might have one password and your Apple ID might have another. Or you might have changed your Apple ID password by now, independent of your email. So they are not, for some people who insecurely use the same password for anything, well, give it a try. It's the same password you've always used. But if you have been updating or changing your passwords from your email, it is independent. Even though you see your email address as your Apple ID, it is now a separate creature. It is the entrance to the iCloud, and whatever app password you assign to it at that point, if you didn't change it, that sticks with it. Meanwhile, your email, you might have not even had that AOL anymore. Maybe now you have Yahoo, or maybe now you have a Gmail. So you might have changed your email 2 or 3 times. So they're now distinct passwords. So for some of you, yes, it's the same password. For some of you, it's a different password, depending on how often you switch your passwords, or you forgot it and you had to create a new one and that kind of stuff. So it's not necessarily, for some people, it is the same one. It's not the most secure thing to do, according to the universe and the galaxy of hackers, but it is the best way for you if you can't remember your passwords, if you have one for everything. I don't recommend that, but then try the same maybe you have 3 different passwords you use over your life, so try all 3, right? And hopefully one of them is it.
So if none of the 3 work, how do you reset the password?
Well, as I said, there's a handout that goes through a whole
Okay.
process of what you can do. So my goal today is to tell you guys to find your password, right? But if you already set your password the secure way, which gives you the possibility of having another email to in case this one doesn't work, then maybe it's easy to recover it because you get information somewhere else. But what if you already closed that email? So it's important to keep this kind of information updated. So say that you used to have AOL and you don't anymore, but 5 years ago you had it. And as a recovery email, you said, well, send stuff to my AOL. Well, guess what? Your AOL is not gatherable anymore. It's not open anymore. So now you can't recover your password through that, right? So basically it's important to offer any account company, any company that you make an account with, any organization you make an account with, to offer them an alternative way to reach you, either by phone or by a separate email address. And you all know, one of the things we're going to get into today is multiple email addresses. And if you don't think you have many email addresses, actually you all do, because at the very least, you also have your pipeline school email address, right? You have whatever you consider your email plus your pipeline. Those of you who are still in the workforce probably also have a work email. And those of you who had another one and another, so you might have 5 email addresses out there in the world. At the very least, you want 2. And then have 2 of those be active so that one helps you retrieve information from the other. But when you close one of those accounts, then you need to update all of your different memberships with information of how to retrieve it. Now, that is an ideal world. If you did not do that, and you don't if you don't use any actual apps that help you remember passwords, then you need to remember to keep updating your account information in the background. If you didn't, then in that handout, there's all this other procedure. You actually need to talk to Apple directly, and they can work on other ways to help you get your account beyond what I can do, because I can't even there's nothing I can do about passwords, okay? Other than point you in the right direction, and point you in the right direction that in the future, you have a way to remember or to retrieve your password by always giving an option of another active password where information gets sent so that you can reactivate it. And that's usually the safest and the best way to go. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do that in your Apple account. So today, I would like a show of hands of how many of you are pretty clear that you do know your Apple password. Don't ever give it to me or to anyone, by the way. I'm not asking for your password. But if you know your Apple ID password and you're clear that you know it, then go ahead and do a little blue raised hand. I want to be able to take it to the iCloud so you can see what's in it. But if you don't know your Apple ID, it's hard to do that. So I'm trying to see how many of you do know for sure that you know your Apple ID. If you've been in my classes before, I've been prompting this for many years. So hopefully those of you who've been back and forth into my classes do know that. But if you do not know it, then your homework between today and next week is going to be to find it out, to figure it out, to understand it. Now, at school, I can't do much about that if you don't know your password because the school computer doesn't remember it. This time we have a new opportunity, which is we are on your own computers. And many times your own computers do know your own Apple ID passwords. You know what I mean? Because they've been memorized. So even if you do not know it right now, so about half the class, although for some people it's their second computers, about half the class does not know or didn't answer that they know their passwords, right? So we might still give it a try, because for the first time ever, you being on your computer might still give you access to your cloud because your computer remembers it. And we might discover that there's 2 or 3 people who, no matter what, still can't access it because their computer doesn't remember it. Now, if your computer is the one who remembered it and not yourself, you'll discover that is not good. And it means that if your computer dies, you won't be able to get into your iCloud. So if what we end up doing today is not you typing it in, but the computer knowing it, then you got to make a point of learning it. Okay. Now, a couple of people asked, where are my handouts? Where is the password handout? And so one thing I did forget to do that I always do, and I'm kind of treating you all as like students who've been in my class before, but not everyone has been in my class before. I usually send out an email with instructions for how to get to the handouts. So I apologize. I am aware now that I did not do it for this class. So I'm gonna write myself a note, and then as soon as we have a break, I will make a point of emailing you that in that handout, so that even without me telling you how to do it, you'll be able to get to it. But basically, I've led you to it last week, and it's the process of going to sbcc.edu, signing into your pipeline account, and then going to your student resources Google Drive shared with me. So it's 5 steps or something like that, that once you do it enough times, like the homework would be once a day, every day, access the handouts. That way, by the time we get to next Tuesday's class, you guys are like, woo, I'm an old hat at this. I know how to do my handouts really well. And that also teaches you how to get into your pipeline account, which is crucial more and more for you as school students. There's a lot of reasons why, and resistance, but legal reasons why we really shouldn't be communicating by personal emails. I'm making a big point of emailing you every time to both your email and your password. But when you're in my regular classes, other than my initial reminder, the rest of the time it all goes through pipeline. Now, because you guys are so far away and I can't, see you otherwise, I'm emailing you every single class the links to both of them. But that's not normal. And for the most part, you shouldn't be using your personal email for school. And any other student in school other than non-credit is not even allowed to use their personal email. So a lot of teachers will only email you to your pipeline, okay? So you need to know how to access your pipeline email anyway. And this class, I'm gonna teach you how to do that so that your email gets picked up just by checking your email on your Mac, okay? So I've got 2 goals today, which is be able to see if we can access your iCloud in the cloud, the actual iCloud this time, not seeing that our stuff goes to the cloud, but actually access the iCloud. And the second thing is to begin to explain to you how to use the mail account and the contacts and the, oh, did I sign in into the wrong? Sorry, my other account, my other computer, I need to sign in. I'm noticing I'm in the wrong sign in. I was signing in when I was talking about King, and I didn't sign into the right account. My other computer where I do my demos, I need to sign into the other account, and then I'll share it with you. Give me a second. Okay, so I have my computers set up, the ones I teach with right now, where on one computer, on this one that I Zoom with, my stuff is in my computer, and on the one I teach with, my stuff is in the cloud. That way I can demonstrate both options, right? So I'm going to be switching to demoing from one computer to the other. So let me connect 1 second to this. Level 2. Here we go. And come on in. And cancel. Cancel. Here we go. All right. I'm not getting my own invite. Oh, because I am myself, so I don't need an invite. Okay. All right. So so we're gonna the apps that we're going to be covering or trying to get more of an understanding of are going to be things like your contacts, your email, your calendar, Safari, and depending on how much time we have, you know, there's such a host of apps. When this class was originally conceived, we didn't even have any of these, so many of these apps that belong to the Mac. So I'm going to been able to tell you generically a little bit about, you know, Pages, keywords, and Note, as in where their stuff goes. But this is not a class where we can explore those apps in depth in any way. You know, all the stuff that shows up in the bottom of your doc, the notes, the reminders, all of that stuff is connected. And if you go ahead and look at the icons that are in your doc, and if you go check what's in your phone, they are parallel. If they're on your computer, they're on your phone, right? Have you even noticed that? How many of you use all those apps? How many of you, I'm gonna clear all the answers right now. And just give me like a little show of hands. For most of you guys, I can see, not everyone, but give me a little show of hands. If you all use, let's say, at least 2 of the apps that are on your dock, like Mail and Safari, or Contacts and Calendar too. How about those of you who use about 5 of them? Okay, lesser hands, but there they are. How about those of you who use all of them? Now, guess what? In the first class where I told you, hey, if you don't use it, you can take it out of your doc, you're welcome to still do that if you don't use it, to take it out of your doc. But wait until after this class, because this class, I'm going to teach you how to use some of those that you've never been using. And you can discover, wow, I can't believe that. I wish I had known that. And you can start using it. But if it's not on your doc anymore because you faithfully did take it out of your doc, then don't worry. The app is still there. And we're going to open it. If you say you got rid of your Reminders app because you didn't know what it did, well, we can retrieve it to find out what it does, and then you can still decide, I'm not going to use it, or yeah, this is awesome, it's the best thing ever since sliced bread, boom, and drop it into your doc again. Okay, so the idea is to begin to have an understanding of what these apps that the Mac comes with and how they interact with your phone. So before I share my screen, any other questions? Let me see if you've been typing some questions that I need to know. Norma's been answering some private questions. Yes, we are gonna get into the cloud, so you will see what's in the cloud, whether there's anything there that you need to retrieve. Okay, someone wants to know how to retrieve stuff from the cloud. We're gonna get in there, and I'll show you where they are. Now, the second part of her question, she wants to know how to retrieve some things from the cloud. Well, if things are in the cloud, they should be accessible to you on your phone as well, just by a button on your phone, where you need to make sure that your phone hasn't disconnected itself from the cloud. And when you turn that on again, then what's on the cloud goes into your phone, what's in your phone goes into the cloud. So it's not like you need to do anything in particular to bring them down from the cloud. If something is in the cloud and you're not seeing it on your phone or on your computer, it's because you have made choices in your settings that don't that aren't equivalent. Okay, and so we're going to be talking about those settings to help you be able to move things through your devices. All right. So unless there's any other burning question regarding what I just said, I'm going to start sharing. Any questions? Nope. All right. I'm clearing all of your guys' answers. That way, when I ask another question, it'll be a new answer to my questions. And I'm going to go over to this computer to share this screen. All right. So I still have Mojave as my operating system, which is not the newest one. And very soon-ish, we're gonna switch to Big Sur. So it's kind of time to decide for me whether I'm gonna move up to Catalina or not. And of course, the answer is gonna be yes. It's just that I've been trying to, and I haven't had the time, but hopefully over the summer, I'll have a few days where I can make some changes, because some of my apps that I've been using for a long time won't work anymore once I go into Catalina. And I just wanted to warn you, because I also got an email yesterday from a student reminding me that if you use Office 365, or if you use Office 2019, like the latest versions, they will soon, if not already, stop working with older versions of OS. I didn't read the entire article, and I know that Norma knows this answer much better, but I know that right now they work with Mojave and Catalina and Sierra and High Sierra, but anything older than that, and I think it's their next iteration of programs, will not work anymore. So if you do have an older version of OS and you're not able to upgrade to High Sierra or Mojave or Catalina or the new Big Sur, then you will have to upgrade to a new Office version. Give me a sec, I'll let you speak in 1 second, Norma, because she's the one who knows all about this. But let me say that that shouldn't be a hardship for anyone who's a student in this class, because if you're a student, you can download Office 365 for free. So if you're thinking, oh no, I'm gonna have to stop, yes, it will stop being the one that you're accustomed to using because you've had it for so long, but you do get Office 365 for free for being a student. And you can be a student as long as you keep signing up for free Mac classes. You can be a student, not Mac, for free non-credit classes. You can keep on being a student forever. So there's no reason why you should never stop having free access to Office 365, which provides you with all of the apps that you need. Okay, so it's not to worry about having to purchase something new, but just concerned that you're going to have to learn how to use a new version, of which we have many classes. So now, Norma, can you proceed with your explanation?
I was just gonna say that if anybody who needs to download the 32-bit versus 64-bit, i.e. the old version versus the new 365 version, email me and I can walk them through it. There is a way you still can get 365 for free, but if you're running the older operating system, you kind of have to go in through the back door, so to speak, to go find it. So just email me and I can walk you through that process. It's easier than try to explain where to get it, but it is still available through a backdoor method. And Deanna, if you want, I did make a handout on that.
I would love that handout. Thank you. Someone yesterday emailed me saying, you know that it's not going to work anymore. And I'm like, no, I didn't know. So that's why I'm warning this, but it's good to know from Norma that actually there is a back way into it. So I would really appreciate that, accessing that handout to know, because I'm sure that I will be getting that question a lot from you guys. Now I do have Mojave. This is talking about anything older than High Sierra. So we're talking Mavericks and El Capitan, and they're not in the top of my head right now, which sometimes in class I have people with some older computers. In this class there's probably only 1 or 2 of you guys have anything older than Sierra. Okay, so if you have any Sierras, Mojave, Catalina, Yosemite, you're fine. You guys can all use the new Office. But anything older than that is what can't use the new Office and still has to get that version of old 32-bit Office that Norma's mentioning. Yes, Norma?
Can I just mention one more thing? I'm really excited after working here through adult ed for 28 years, we have new classes for Word. So this fall we are launching Word 1, 2, and 3. So we have some in the evening, some during the daytime. So these are brand new classes that have not been either offered in the past or it's been multiple years. So I just want to encourage you. We have some new classes on it, and if you take mine, I incorporate Mac version in it.
All right.
Does
well,
that include
that's-
Excel?
they're coming.
Yes, we do have Excel ones. I am in the process of working what I call a cheat sheet for Excel. I'm not teaching Excel in the fall, but Vince is, and it's Excel 1, 2, and 3. We're really excited. We have now a whole bunch of new Office ones, including PowerPoint 1, 2, 3, Outlook 1, 2, 3, and for those that have access to a PC, we're actually going to offer Access and Publisher.
Yeah. So just so you know, I have a lot of information about offices you have and all of that. I teach all of the Office classes in the credit campus, and so I have handouts of how to tell where your Office versions are and stuff like that. If you email me, I can send them to you. And the second question from Chris, is the print catalog complete? 100% no. Not because of any fault of the catalog, but the catalog gets designed, filled, and printed like 3 or 6 months ahead of time. And in between the get printed and the reality is that there's a lot of changes. Not huge changes, but if it happens to be a change in the class you want, that's a huge change. So it's a great guide of what we're going to offer, but then there's going to be schedule changes, class additions, class deletions. So the updated catalog is always going to be online. Okay. And so when we get to pipeline, whenever I go show the handouts, remind me to make a little stop there and show you how to get to the online catalog, which is updated to the actual latest information. Okay.
The fall PDF catalog is available, and so is the flyer from Emma for fall. And I do have a list for the new classes as well. So just email me and I'd be happy to send you links to go get that. And just a side note, they're PC and Mac, 95% of the courses are pretty much the same in Microsoft Office. There's just a few unique quirks. And like I said, I have handouts on that.
Yeah. So usually I put in my handouts, I'm noticing I haven't done it this session, but usually in my handouts I'll have the PDF with the classes for everyone's classes. So I'm going to make a point. Let me make a point of uploading that also. Upload the PDF with the fall classes so you can all see what's available. I teach all of these guys up in the credit campus, and over there we supposedly only teach the Windows versions. But I always support people with Mac because I'm a Mac person, and there are a lot of differences once you get to the higher level possibilities of these programs, right? When you're really getting into, some in-depth kind of stuff, but not so much at all that one Windows class wouldn't give you 90% of access to everything that the Mac can do. They are more and more similar as time goes by. So when you get into one of those higher level things, you'll know enough that you'll know how to figure it out on the Mac or the PC, right? And for the more basic differences, if you take Norma's classes, she's going to show you how to flip that to the Mac. We used to teach just Mac classes. I don't know that that's going to happen anymore. So probably the way to do that is to take the Windows class and then to constantly say, well, how is it on the Mac, right? And hopefully get the answers. Okay. So they used to be very different and we couldn't do that, but now they're similar enough that with one class you can kind of cover the needs for both Mac and PC users. So that's really good that Office is becoming so similar. On the other hand, when I used to teach Windows, Mac Office, what I would do, and many of you guys know that from other summers, in the summer I used to do it, I would teach also how to use Pages, Keynote, and Numbers, which are the Mac versions of Word, Office, and Excel, Word, PowerPoint, and Excel. So Pages is Word, Numbers is Excel, and Keynote is PowerPoint. And I miss that. I miss that now that we've created these classes, that won't happen anymore because there is no class to teach Pages, Numbers, and Keynote. So in my many things to do is to be able to offer a class where we teach Pages, Numbers, and Keynote, which although I've said forever that we need it, I've never done the actual work of creating the new curriculum. So, so that's in the burner, in the ink, in the ink pot. Because as much as we teach people how to use all of the Mac and everything else, there's no time for me to teach you how to use 3 completely full programs in everything else in this class. So I'm not going to teach you those 3 apps today, but what we have done in the past is we get to open them to create a file and save it and things like that. And usually I do that in Mac level 1 when I'm teaching you how to save and organize, but with the whole Zoom interruption, my class didn't cover anywhere near as much as I normally cover, so we never got to open a file and save it in the right place. That would have been covered in Mac level 1. If I can fit that into this one, I will do that. Okay. All right. The only, for better or for worse, you know, yay, we have recording, so you can always go and relearn things, and that's great. But the negative is that I am not covering as much information as I usually do, and that's something that I'm noticing across the board with all my classes. So I spend so much time just getting people on board with Zoom. Oh well, we got to take what we can and be happy with what we have, right? Okay. So now I've been doing all of this conversation on shared screen, which is really uncomfortable when I talk this long. I usually want to be on, you know, in person, and I just noticed that it's been sharing all this time. So I apologize. If you ever notice that, call me on it and say, hey, can you stop sharing, or can you start sharing if I'm not sharing when I should? Sometimes I'm not being aware of that. I'm sitting here talking to, and you guys are just looking at a blank desert screen, which is kind of boring, but let's make something happen in that blank desert screen so that we can get some action there and people waking up. So here's my doc, and I have this doc set up as much as possible as the basic doc that comes when you buy a Mac now. I do have to say that depending on what Mac version or what OS or when you bought it or things like that, your doc might look different than mine, because if you've changed it, if you've modified it in any way in the past, and then you upgrade software, then what happens is that all of those changes get grandfathered in. So just because you update to a new software, it's not like your computer goes back to basic settings as it used to be. It remembers that you actually wanted to have such and such icons on the dock, or such and such icons, or your views turned on, or things like that. So it keeps those changes. And so even though you might have updated to a new OS, it still might look different than the basic setup. But this setup here is pretty much the basic setup. I have the apps that come, except for the fact that I also have Google Chrome in here because I use it to teach one of my web classes, which, by the way, I'm not teaching right now. So out it goes. There we go. So now that is the basic setup. I just finished that class yesterday. So now this is the set of apps that comes in the latest version of Mojave, at least, okay? Now, the latest version of Mojave, as I've told you before, comes with 3 separate sections of your doc. These are apps or applications, and they are all Mac-based apps or applications. So if you have Word, Excel, Photoshop, any of those in there, that's because you put them in there, because you installed a program outside of what Mac brings, okay? So in my regular computer, I have a lot of other icons in there of apps that I use that are not Mac apps, but these are the ones that Mac comes with. And these apps are the ones that you should find an absolute equivalent on your phone or on your iPad if you use the iCloud correctly, or at least how Apple wants you to use it. There's no correct way. You use it the way you prefer. But that's the circuit. It's all these apps that are here and some more that are not even here. You know, like, you know, Keynote, Keychain, I'm going to say Chainlink, Keychain, and a bunch of others that function a little bit behind the scenes. Then in between this line and this line, I don't know if you can see, let me get my little pointer. And between this line and this line here, you have the 3 most recent apps that you've been using and the icons that you don't normally install in your dock, but these keep switching over as you use new apps. So yesterday I was teaching people how to use iMovie, but I don't have it set up here in my dock, and so it's here. Those of you who are in my movie class and opened up iMovie might find that it's there too, because it doesn't live in the dock. I don't use iMovie long enough to need to want often enough to want to have it sitting in my dock as a normal situation. Okay. Now I do use Zoom all the time, but I don't have it sitting in the dock because I'm trying in this class to teach the basic setup. But in my regular computer, I do have it already on that side. So, but I mean by this side, this line is that side there is something that you want all the time. So say that you guys want Zoom to appear on your dock all the time, because come on, you're using it 2 to 5 times a week. So now move it from here to there. What you need to do is right click on it, go to options and say keep in dock. Okay, so for those of you who are using Zoom all the time, you might as well keep it in your dock. And so right click on your icon, options, keep in dock. And when you do that, boom. See, it just moved one side over, but now it's on the permanent dock side, okay? It's on the permanent dock side. And the day that all of this devastation is over and we'll go back to seeing each other and Zoom is history, which, by the way, I don't think will really happen because even though we're going to go back to normal life, I think a lot is still going to happen over Zoom, for better or for worse. Then you can take it off by removing it. But right now, that's a better place for that. And then on this side of the line, those of you who've taken my last few classes, what's on this side of the line? Does anyone remember?
Things that you used recently?
Nope, this is the last line to the right. This stuff here.
Crash and the downloads.
The downloads is one of them. What are these things? If these are apps, applications, programs, software, what are these here? Everyone except for Norma gets to answer.
Documents.
Yes, documents, files, and folders. So these are the things created with those apps, okay? So these are the end product, your letters, your reports, your recipes, your photo. Well, photos is a little bit different, but your downloads, anything that comes in downloaded from your computer. So the actual stuff that gets handled, that gets moved around, that gets created, that gets sent or received, that's on this side. So these you have nothing to do with. They just come installed in your computer, you install them, and they allow you to write or read or communicate or see the internet or get your you know, contact list, your little black notebook or whatever. So that those are apps that exist that are program created by someone else. But with all of these apps, you create files that then hold information that you made or designs that you made or recipes that you wrote. All of that is considered a file, and all of those things get stored in folders and your documents or your desktop. And that is what's on this little side on the right side, including any you don't want that you throw into the trash, okay? So that's what's on the right side of the line. Okay, so applications on the left side of the line, files and folders that hold those files on the right side of the line. Is that pretty clear? Yes? No? Maybe? Yeah? Okay. I know that we're getting close to, oh, gotta let someone in. I know that we're getting close to a break. So before we go on to that break, I want to show you guys, and this is just a review of something that we did last class, but for those of you who weren't here, I'll open it up, show you something, and then we'll go and take a break. And those of you who want to play around it and check it out a little bit more because it's your first time at it, will have a chance, and the rest of you can take your break. And that's a quick way to know what's happening to your documents and what's happening to your cloud. So what we're going to do is we're going to go on to the settings, and this little icon over here, it's called System Preferences on the PC, and it's called Settings on your phone or your iPad. And through this app, through the System Preferences and Settings, we're going to control the entirety of our experience with the iCloud, okay? What's going to transfer from one place to the other or not, all of those choices are made in your System Preferences on the computer, and your settings on your phone, and your settings on your iPad. So you need to have all three of them coordinate, okay? If you want things to work smoothly. So it's not just about settings on one, but it's the settings on three. So open up the System Preferences, and there we go. I'm being prompted to upgrade to the newer software. See how I have a little 1 here over software update? I'm being told, hey, you should move up to Catalina. And that's what that little 1 is. If you don't have a little number here, that's called a badge. So many times apps have little circles. In fact, if you look down at my dock, see over here on the calendar, I have a little 2 badge on top of that. So, and on my messages, I have a little 1 badge. On my apps, I have a 3 badge. These little badges are the app is telling you, hey, I've got a message for you. Hey, check me out. I have something new. And until you check it out, the number keeps growing, right? So right now, my calendar has 2 messages for me, meaning I probably have 2 appointments that are overdue, and it's trying to tell me, hey, you know, you've got this happening, which is probably, hey, this class is starting and stuff like that. And messages I probably got in a text. That is our text app, okay, the messages app. But my update, my software update is telling me, please update. So that's what that message. Once I go to it, it'll tell me something. But what I want to show you now is that this System Preferences is one of the places where there have been some changes if you're in Catalina. So if it looks exactly like mine, it's because you have Mojave and under. If it looks a bit different, where at the top here, you see something that says Apple ID, that's because you have Catalina. Okay, so a subset of about 5 or 6 of you, I remember, 7 of you maybe, who have Catalina, you have something that says Apple ID over there. That's what you need to click on. For the rest of us who have Mojave and under, over here we have the word iCloud. And some of you had this conversation during the macOS level 1 version of it. So this is just review for you. For others of you, it's new. So if you see an iCloud here, that means that you do not have Catalina, basically. Click on that. When you click on that, you will see something like this. If you have Catalina, you will see something up here. It won't say the word iCloud, it'll say Apple ID. Click on that. And when you click on that and we click on that, we'll get to something very similar that looks like this. Except for Catalina also has some more information down here at the bottom, okay? But this is the part that I'm concerned with right now. Did everyone open one or the other way this window? Yeah? Okay, I'm gonna switch to sharing just this window so that it's easier to see the window. There we go. And this window here is showing us, if I put my mouse over here and scroll up and down, it's showing us the entirety of the apps that actually do connect with my pad or phone. So there's more than what's on the dock. If I go up and down, you'll see that there's some other things like Siri, Keychain, Find My Mac, Stocks, Home, stuff that I do not have on my dock. Do you see that? So I don't have my dock visible. I'm not sharing it, but you guys can see that there's some of these things that are not on my dock versus notes and Safari, reminders, calendars, contacts, email, all that was on my dock. Is that the same for you? Okay, all right. Now, this is not the only stuff that goes in my cloud, in the cloud. This is just the main apps that go into the cloud. And whether you have a check mark on them here or not, is going to indicate whether that information is being sent to the cloud or not. So in my case, I have check marks on everything except for photos. See? So what this means is that if I have any events in my calendar, it's being sent to the cloud. If I have notes in my reminders or in my notes, they're saying send up to the cloud. If I have bookmarks set up in Safari or favorites marked or things like that, that is going up to the cloud. Or the history of what I've been watching or open tabs, that's the kind of thing from Safari that goes up to the cloud, okay? If I have, and we're gonna in-depth work on the mail program this time, but if I have messages in my mail coming into my iCloud email, this is the limitation, things that are in my iCloud email, which some of you guys use and some of you guys don't, then that's being stored up in the cloud. Your computer stores emails from, any other iCloud, Google, Yahoo, all that, AOL, all that kind of stuff. But to the cloud, only the iCloud email goes up. So when I explain email, you'll understand that description a little bit better. Okay. And then I'm going to ignore the option of photos. We were talking that in depth in the photos class. We'll talk about it more, but not right now. So do not change this. Do not change whatever setting you have in the Photos app. That's a big change, so please do not. And then you have the iCloud Drive. The iCloud Drive has even more apps that save their things to the cloud. I'm just sharing these things to you so that we can open it up, and we're going to break and I'll give more detail. But in the iCloud Drive, there's a version here, a button here called Options. Do you see that? Go ahead and click on that Options. And now there's even more options that have check marks, okay? Did you all click on Options? All right, so this is more stuff that goes to the cloud. For example, you might have something called Dropbox. If you do, it will go to the cloud. If you don't, it won't. It depends on whether you have it or not, okay? But if you use your mail, your pages, your numbers, your Keynote, see those three that I mentioned? Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, pages, numbers, and Keynote, iMovie, books, text edit, script editor, QuickTime Player, all of these guys, if you make anything in those apps will, by default, automatically save those files into the cloud. You can change that. You can say you want them in your computer, but by default, without any changing of things, all of these things are apps that allow you to create stuff, right? Then all of the stuff you create or you download or you read, if this check mark is on, it will go settle itself in the cloud, including the very top most important one, which says desktop and documents folders. That's the one that defines whether your stuff is in your computer or in the cloud. If your check mark is on, your stuff is in the cloud, even though you see it on your computer. Now, I am going to stop sharing this and share really quickly my other computer to see what plan B would be. And then we're going to do a break. But plan B means that if I go to my system preferences in this computer, and I'm going to close some other windows that are confusing. If I go into this computer, into my iCloud, so I'm going to click on iCloud in this one now. And when this stops reading it, this one's the one that's my really slow computer that I use for Zoom, and that's why I have a lot of stuff turned off. But in this one, come on, it's thinking. There we go. If I go to the options in this one, see how this is unchecked? If your top desktop and folders is unchecked, that means that all your files you have, like I have a ton of files on this computer, they are truly in my computer and they are not up in the cloud. So if I try to find any of the files from this computer in my phone or in my iPad, I wouldn't be able to. They only reside on my computer. Is that pretty clear? Versus on my other computer where I have the check mark on the document and desktop folders, If I want to access any of those files, not only from my phone or my iPad, but from someone else's computer because mine is not there and I happen to be in Argentina visiting my mom, if that check mark is on, I can access all those documents and folders and files from my mom's computer in Argentina. Okay, so that's the big distinction I want you guys to be clear. So there's pros and cons to having it on and off, and I'm explaining both, and it's your choice if you want them on or off, but don't willy-nilly turn those check marks on or off, because if you turn it on because you go, oh, I want my stuff to be accessible from everywhere, you need to make sure that you have enough space on your cloud in order to store all the stuff that is in your computer, okay? So in which case, some of you might need to pay 99 cents a month or even $2.99 a month in order to have more space, because for free you only get 5 gigabytes. Okay, that was I've slowly explained bits and pieces of this all across my courses, and now that was kind of the beginning to end one big package of how the iCloud works. I know you have a ton more questions, but now that you have an idea, I want everyone to go and give me for sure, because now you all know the answer. If your stuff, desktop and documents, is in the cloud, raise your blue hand. And if your stuff, desktop and documents, is not in the cloud, meaning your checkbox is off, then give me a green check mark, okay? Because this is it, now you know. If it's in the cloud, this would be on. That's a blue hand. And if this is off, your stuff is not on the cloud, that's a green check mark in your participants, okay? So I'm gonna let you guys do that. I'm gonna stop my share. I want a green check mark or a blue hand next to all of you guys. So if you are not clear on this, when we get back from break, I will talk about this a little bit more, but I need to know who is not clear on this. And if you did not check mark or raise your hand, that means you're not clear. So if you are clear, please check mark or raise your hand. I've said it so many times, hopefully you got the message. We're gonna take our first break. It's 10:35. We're gonna go till 10:50. It's a long break, a 15-minute break, okay? Usually my breaks are shorter, but I've been needing my long breaks this time. So 15 minutes, 10:50, I'll see you guys back, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, George?
How can I tell if what's on the cloud and my computer at the same time?
Yeah, by the way, yes, let me be clear. When your things are on the cloud, you see them on your computer. So it's not like they're only on the cloud. You see them on your computer. They show up, they exist on your computer, but the ultimate place where that file is actually stored is in the cloud. So I'll explain more about that. But yes, if you have the iCloud checkbox turned on, to all intents and purposes, when you go to your computer's desktop and documents, there they are. You think they're on your computer, but that's just the way it is. I'll explain more about that later, okay? But yeah, that's right, it's correct.
What if I'm not connected to the internet?
They still show up, and that's the advantage of this. You still work on them, and then when you do connect, the transfer takes place where everything updates itself automatically, okay? So, but I want to explain this to the whole class, George. So if you want to ask me this question again in public when the class starts again, those are great questions. And if you don't ask me again, I might forget. Whoa, someone turned on. I'm going to mute everyone. Whoa. Okay. So what I was saying, please ask me this question again, because it's one that in my brain I might remember I answered because I answered you. But I want to answer that one in front of the whole class because it's a very important question, okay? Could you make a point of asking me again, please, George?
Will do.
Thank you. Hi there. Hi back. Hmm.
Should I ask my question now?
Yeah, give me a second while everyone's back. Pat, are you there? Because she has, Pat, I see you there. Can you hear me? I think you can hear me. I hear you.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So I just want to remind you and everyone, a couple of people emailed me saying they couldn't get in. I am sending the link to the class every morning at 6 a.m. I'm sending it out every single day we have a class. And it's the same link every day. It's not like it changes, but in case you're clicking on other links or other Mac level 1 links or something like that, if in doubt, always click on the link for the first day that I sent you that day, and that's always the right link. That said, I'm not sure why you weren't able to get in other than clicking on the wrong link. So did you figure out what was happening or?
No, I then went to review yesterday's, well, in that first hour, and then say I clicked on the link and then it says join a meeting. And then I did all that join the meeting and it kept saying the password of whatever it was, 1500.72 was wrong. And then all of a sudden, after I finished looking at yesterday's stuff or Tuesdays, I clicked on the link again and here I was.
That's interesting. Well, because I'm looking at the password, you shouldn't, if you're clicking on a link, you shouldn't be asked for a password. That's what's confusing me.
Yeah.
If you're clicking on my link, does anyone else get asked a password, you guys, just to understand if this is just your experience? Do y'all get asked a password?
Only if I join by the meeting ID.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you type in a meeting ID, then you get told, well, you must not have a link. So you need to put in a password because some people get given only an ID and a password and you need to enter that. But if you click on the link, that's kind of an admission that you are one of the in crowd. Only the in crowd has the link that allows you to get in without a password. So I'm just confused, but Kath also raised her hands. Like both of you guys got asked for a password and that's confusing. I want to see if it's an exception, but when two of you say that, doesn't seem like such an exception. Kath, what were you?
Well, I was going to just say that I think every time I seem to click on somebody's special link, it's asking me to download Zoom, and I already have downloaded Zoom. It's on my computer.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, why am I downloading this again when I've actually downloaded it? And I can't. And so what I try to do is actually just open the Zoom I already had in my account, put in the meeting ID, put in the password, but that didn't work.
Yeah. So I remember that message that you get download. Go ahead and say okay to it. It doesn't download it again. It's just the automatic question that it always asks to make sure you have it because it's an out of custom everyone gets. And if you say okay, it just opens up your Zoom. That's all that happens. I don't know why it says those words. It's kind of weird, but just say okay and then up your Zoom that I already have will pop and then you will be in without needing a password.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, as soon as you type it in, the meeting ID and to get in, like join a meeting with a meeting ID, then it will, yes, request the password because that means you don't, as far as Zoom is concerned, that means you don't have the link. And then you need to prove that you have a right to be in the class, right? Pat, is that?
But the password didn't work.
No, it didn't for me either. But that's because I think we had to click on the link she sent us. We couldn't go through the other method.
Technically, if you type in the meeting ID 252-266-606, which is the one that belongs to this class, and the password that belongs to this class, it should work. I just want to make sure that my email has the right information. Did I send you the right meeting ID and link? I don't know. I mean, I should have, but I'm checking it. I'm checking it right now.
I had the same issue when I tried to join by ID. The link worked, but the ID and password did not.
So I'm looking at it right now because you can see in here, I'm looking at the email and the password that I sent you guys. And it is 252-265-606. That's what's in the email, and 150072. That's the password. So I don't know what to say. The information that this class is giving me, if you look at the very far left, there's a little I with info. That tells you, do you see up the top where it says recording on the very far left, there's a little I with info? You guys see that?
Yep.
There's a little green check mark. There's a recording thing, and there's a little tiny eye, very top left. Click on that, and that tells you Mac OS Level 2, meeting ID, and password. And it's exactly the one that I have in your email. So I really would not know why it's not working. And so that might be a question that is more like a Zoom tech support question. Like to the Zoom people, because the information I gave you is right. So why it's not working, I do not know. And it's one thing if one person is saying they can't get in, but when 2 people said they could get in, or 3 people, then I wanted to know what was happening. So thanks for letting me know. And I'm going to, all I can do is ask tech support to Zoom what's happening, that the password and IDs that you're giving us don't work. That said, it would work. Everyone is getting in through the link. So keep clicking on the link and saying, okay, and then you should be able to get in without having to put in the meeting ID or password. Okay. Although then in the end, it did work because you both are here. So somehow it didn't work first and then it worked. So that's even more confusing. Other than maybe that it didn't get typed in correctly once or twice, and then it did get typed in correctly. That's my only plan C option, right? That we type in things and sometimes what we type is wrong and you type it again. I don't know. But thanks for letting me know. And I'm glad you're back and that you're here. And for all of you guys over break, I, as usual, went to my emails. And one of the things I did is I emailed you all the handout for how to get to my handouts, okay? Because I know that Barbara was asking a few times, and other people who haven't been in class for a while were asking. And Barbara doesn't have her video on, so I don't know if she's back, but if you're back, Barbara, because you're the one who asked a few times, I just emailed you a handout of how to get in with to my handouts. And Barbara's also saying that you couldn't get in with ID and password. I wouldn't know why it's not working. That is the ID and password for this meeting. So I don't know. I don't have an answer to that one. I'll have to research, but the link does work. So you say okay to download. It won't download another app. It'll just open up the app that you have. Okay. I don't know why it's doing that. That's a Zoom question. It's beyond my possibility.
Diane,
And to both your pipeline password and to your personal password, I just emailed a handout telling you to get to the handouts, and then we're going to go and do it over here again at the end of class. Anyone who wants a reminder of how to get to the handouts, how to get to LinkedIn Learning, I won't tell it to everyone now because everyone's been there 2,500 times if they've taken this class many times, this summer twice already. So those of you who do not know how to get to the handouts or need a reminder or just want me to walk you through it again, which is a completely understandable need and request. It's not, it's 5 steps. So you need to know the 5 steps. You can do it many times to get comfortable with them. After class, stay after 12 for an extra few minutes and I will demonstrate that process again. And in the handouts there, I have all the links to the latest recordings and all the explanations that I have about the, OS versions and all the explanations for iCloud versus cloud and just a whole bunch of good stuff. All right. So someone was trying to talk when I was speaking. Someone was, oh, you're all done. Okay.
It was me, Diana, and I was just saying that I'm using my iPad now to watch and participate, so I'm using my iMac to work.
Oh, perfect. In fact, Chris sent me a photo of her setup. So, and that's really useful because when I explain people, it's harder than just to have a photo. So if you can take a picture of your setup, anyone who's doing this dual monitor thing, take a picture of your setup like she did. Thank you for doing that. And send it to me, because then next time I tell people, hey, this is how you can set it up, I can show a couple of ideas so people can go, oh, okay, I begin to see what you mean. I can visualize what you're talking about. Photos and images are always better than just words. So thank you so much for sending me that. And I have to say, I was really needing to laugh last night when I got the sad news. And she sent me a link to a YouTube recording of someone trying to talking their mom through setting up Zoom Zoom on the phone, and he goes through every single emotion I've ever experienced in class, and it was very funny. So thank you for doing that. You guys, send me pictures of your setup and how you're handling this class, okay? If you're having to divide half and half your Zoom and me, take a picture of that and send it to me. I actually don't have that because by teaching it, I can't capture that same experience that you are experiencing. If you're doing it with 2 monitors or with an iPad and a computer, take a quick snap of that and send it to me. I'd really appreciate that. And I can do a little gallery of ways you can connect for the class. Okay. Now, George had a really good question that he asked me during break, and that I asked him, I kind of explained it, and then I said, you know what, ask me again when everyone comes back, because I want everyone to hear the answer. So can you tell me again your question?
If the question was, how can I tell that a file is on the cloud and my computer at the same time? And a corollary to that is, one time I clicked off on the iCloud drive and everything on my desktop on the computer disappeared, which I don't understand because it's supposed to be in the computer as well.
So right now, did it all disappear from your computer?
Again?
Did it just all disappear? Did you just uncheck that link?
Yeah, that was some time ago. Then I put it back on.
Okay. All right. So because I was like going, oh no, remember I told you do not check or uncheck these boxes right now, hopefully, because things can look like they disappear. They do in a way or another, but it's not like you've lost it, but they do disappear. So do not check or uncheck those links. So let me share my screen so that I can give the answer to that. And I'll repeat, the point of the question is, if the stuff is in your computer, it's in your computer, period. You know it's there. And that would be the people who have the check mark off. And when you look at your computer, there they are. You have no questions. Life is good. The only negative to that is that stuff isn't going to be available to you from another iPad, from another iPhone, nor if you lose all your items and you need to access them to replenish your computer, nor will they be available if you are, for example, like me, visiting your mom in Argentina, and next thing you know, you need access to one of those files that's in your computer at home, and guess what? They're in your computer at home and you're in Argentina, so forget it, can't do anything about it. So those are the negatives. The positives are, that's it, they're in your computer and you never have to question if it's this version or that version or whatever other reasons you might have. The other positive is if you had a lot of images, sorry, not photos, forget that I said photos, it's a different conversation. If you have a lot of files in your computer, then you might need to pay more money to keep them stored in the cloud. That said, most of the time, the files that you save, that you create, are not big files. Word, Excel, PowerPoint, notes, I'm trying to think, not Quark, I'm sorry, I'm having a blank on the one that does all the accounting and bank stuff.
Okay.
Help me out.
Numbers.
What's that?
Numbers?
No, numbers. The first one you said, QuickBooks or
QuickBooks or Quicken.
Quicken or QuickBooks. Some people have that. Those are not Mac products, and you buy those and stuff. All of those files are small. They really are. So if all of those files are what are the bulk of your material that you produce and you put that on the cloud, that's not what's going to trigger to go from, 99 cents to $2.99 a month. What's going to trigger that is how many photos or movies you have. That's going to trigger that. And that is a different conversation, because right now I'm not talking about photos or movies. I'm talking about desktop and documents files, which are not your photos nor your movies. Okay, so now let me take you to my computer that does have stuff on the cloud. So I'm going to share and I'm going to explain what it means and the point of his question. So in this computer, okay, I do have this checked on. So when this is checked on, what it means is that any files in my desktop or documents, which should probably be all the files my computer owns, except for a very big glaring omission here is anything that's in your downloads, okay? If you downloaded something from the internet, it lives in your computer. That lives in your computer, clearly. There is no, that is in your computer and nowhere else. The whole point was it was online and you downloaded it, right? So why would it suddenly be online again? The point is it's downloaded, it's in your computer. So the only places your files usually are in your desktop, your documents, or your downloads. Those are the three places that hold your files. So desktop and document files, in this case with the check mark on, means that they are up in the cloud. All right. Now, you don't know that by all intents and purposes because you look at your computer and you go, my files are here. My files are in my computer. What do you mean they're on the cloud? They look and act as if they are on your computer. In fact, and I'm going to move this to the side because if I open my Finder window and I go into my documents folder, look at all the stuff I have in my documents folder. They seem to be on my computer, don't they? I see them from my computer. I can access them from my computer. The thing is that if I pay a little bit closer attention, anything that's in my documents, if you have taken my other classes and have turned on the path bar, you will notice that ultimately my documents folder down here is in the iCloud Drive. And I am seeing them as showing up on my computer, but their real place of repose is up in the iCloud Drive. So for better or for worse, you don't notice any different. You're using them here, you're opening them here, you're closing them here. Same with my desktop. I don't happen to have anything in my desktop, right? But if I did, my desktop, if I go down here, is also on my iCloud Drive. Now, if you do not see this path bar, if when you click on something here, you do not see this path bar, which would be anyone who joined the class today, maybe Kath, maybe people who haven't taken this class before, maybe Pat, then you need to turn on this part of your window. So to do this, first of all, go to the Finder and click one time to open a window. Any window, I don't care what window opens. And once you open a window, any window, go and click on the word Documents, wherever you find it. Now that you've done that, Pat, you're looking a little bit confused. Do you need a hand with that? I can't hear you. You need to turn your sound off. If no one's in your house, by the way, you guys, it's okay to keep the sound on all the time. And then if we start having like barking dogs or traffic noises, I'll just tell you to mute yourself, okay? But other than that, it's easier to be able to go back and forth if your sound is constantly on. But if you start talking on the phone or say, hey, yes, to someone else, that's the kind of noises we don't want. Okay. So
I did open something and now what am I looking for?
So now anyone who does not have this path bar on yet, let me actually turn off. By default, I'm just doing something and I'll tell you in a minute. By default, if you do nothing, when you, hold on, when you don't know what I'm teaching you, then these windows look like this. At the bottom of your window, it's just flat. There's nothing there. And there's two bars there that are very important to me and that I teach all my students to have on. And so those of you who do not have anything but this at the end, meaning nothing, then you need to go up to View and say, Show Path Bar. You click on that, and now you see the path bar down there. And then you need to go up again and say, Show Status Bar. And then you see the status bar. So these two things are crucial. Now, I also have you show tab bar. I haven't shown you yet how to use that, but those are the three that I tell you to turn on. So now you have a lot of information of where they are. Now, if anyone who did this, because they already had them on, did it again, when you go again, now it says hide. And if you click on hide, then that is gone, right? So we don't want to click on hide. If we did hide it, go back and say show path bar again. The goal is to show it, to see it. Once you see it, anything you click on has a path telling you, directing you to where that file is. So when I click on this file, that logo is in documents, that's in the cloud. When I click on this one, that it's a book, it's an ebook, is in the documents, that's in the cloud. Okay, so that's kind of how you get to know. And your desktop items, if you have a screenshot, that's in the desktop, that's in the cloud. Now, why am I seeing them here now? So that's all review of stuff that we've done before, but it's a reminder also for you guys who need a refresher on that, on the whole point of this path bar. Use it and learn from that where your stuff is. Now, if I click on something that's not there, so this, for example, is not in the cloud, and if I click on something like that, notice that it'll say, this is in that, which is in your hard drive called 8 terabytes backup new. So this ultimate place is the place that those files actually live in. That's where they reside. If your desktop checkmark is off, what you will see here as the place that things reside is going to be your actual computer, which if I go to my downloads, it goes into the little house icon that usually has your name, users, and Macintosh hard drive. So the downloads for everyone in this course, no matter who you are, if you click on downloads, it should lead you straight back to the Macintosh hard drive. Does that work? Is that so for everyone when you click on your downloads?
No, I missed when you said to show, to go to view and to show the path bar. And what was the other bar I was supposed to show?
Show status bar
This.
and show path bar. Show status bar and show path bar. And show tab bar. I haven't told you guys how to use that one yet, but it's a good one to have open. And if I get around to teaching you, then have that one open.
So I do have a Catalina, which I've never told you that, but I still don't have anything on the bottom.
This has nothing to do with Catalina or Mac or Mojave. This is everyone across the board since the day Mac started. When you click on something on the left, at the bottom, the path bar will show you where that stuff is held in the path bar. So you click on something, but you need to click on something, otherwise it doesn't work. And then the path bar gives you the breadcrumb trail, it's also called, of this file is there and there, okay? Depending on how deep you went. If you have files in 3 different places, then this file is in there, which is in there, which is in there, which ultimately is in the iCloud drive. Okay, now
So
I can't teach my whole Mac level 1 class again. So if you have many more questions about this, please stay behind and I will give you more in-depth explanation about this. This was more of a review reminder, and I want to move on to, well, how come these files are here and on the cloud? And that's the conversation I'm going to have right now. The functionality of where they are is all I need you to know. Why, how come, how do I find files? That's what I taught in macOS Level 1. If you want to know more about that, I'll hang out after 12, okay? So now to George's question, how come they're here if I'm telling you they're in the cloud? Well, they show up in this place, they show up on your phone, they show up on your iPad, but the actual, what we consider the original file, the one file, the version that is the real file, so to say, that's the one that lives in the cloud. And the one that you are seeing here is just a version of it. So not a version of it sounds bad, like a link to it. I don't know how to explain it. It is that same file, but but when you save it here, it saves in the cloud. When you change it here, it changes in the cloud. If you change it in your phone, it changes in the cloud. If it changes in the cloud, it changes in your computer. It's like this little linked thing that no matter where you live or change or use it from, it changes everywhere. And here's the caveat. As long as you're connected to Wi-Fi, to the internet, you could be by cable, as long as you're connected to the internet, right? So when you're connected to the internet, if you make a change on the file called Jesse Mask, then immediately your cloud file and your phone file and your iPad file all have updated as well. But what if I take my laptop and I go camping, right? For some reason, I go camping on my laptop, or forget that. I go camping with my phone and I happen to open my Jesse Mask file when I'm on my phone, when I'm camping, when I don't have Wi-Fi. I'm talking the kind of camping up in the mountains where you don't have Wi-Fi or data. And you open it up and you work on it. And yes, there is a copy sitting on your iPad, on your phone, and on your computer. It's not a copy. There is a version of it sitting there that you can use and change and keep writing your 2 more chapters of your novel. If at that same moment you weren't up in the mountains in the cloud and you were at home, which see, you can't because you're only one person. If at home you were to look in, from Argentina into that iCloud, yeah, that version would still not be the new version because you haven't connected to Wi-Fi. So what's on your computer is a bit newer, right? Because you've just written another chapter. But you are one person and no one else uses your password. And so no one else uses that. So physically it's kind of not a possibility, right? So you're up in the mountains, you write 2 more chapters, you walk home and you enter your house, and guess what? Your computer automatically connects to Wi-Fi, doesn't it? When you walk into your house? The moment you do that, and your phone connects to Wi-Fi, the moment you do that, if right then you go look at that file, boom, it's been updated and all versions are all the changes you made in the mountains. Does that make sense? When you're not connected, you can keep making changes and we're using it. And that's the big difference with Google Drive, where you cannot, unless you do a whole nother Google Classroom, I'm not gonna go there. You actually, with your Mac computers, can keep working on them, saving them, making changes. And then the moment you connect to Wi-Fi, that's when, boom, the changes go and happen across the board. Is that pretty clear?
Mhm.
Now, as I said, this is if your computers are, if your computer iCloud check marks are on across the whole situation. So what you need to do on your phones and on your iPads, you need to have the same settings. You need to have it turned on to have the stuff be going around and around. So let me show you those settings. I'm gonna stop this sharing for a second so that you can see me a bit bigger. If you wanna see this bigger that I'm showing right now, you can go ahead and switch to speaker view, or you can go to the video where I'm speaking and click on the 3 little dots that appear with your mouse and say pin video, so that when I show my actual phone, it looks bigger for you, because otherwise it will be a small thing, okay? So now I'm gonna show you my phone, and in your phone, when you go to the settings, okay, go to your name, right, and click on it. And when you go to your name, that's showing your iCloud password and your iCloud choices. So I don't know how well you see this. I'm trying to see it. But after you see your iCloud pass up there, as you start scrolling down, see how you see iCloud and click on iCloud. There's the iCloud. I'm sorry, I'm seeing it backwards. There it is. Click on iCloud. Good. And now that you're in iCloud, there you go. Here are all your choices, the same ones that we're seeing in front of us right now on the screen. But instead of a check mark, what they have is a little green bubble. And if you touch that bubble, that would turn it off. It's as if you had unchecked. And if that bubble is on green, that means it's checked, okay? So in here, you can decide if you want the same things checked. And let me look and see where it shows the iCloud. There we go. You go all the way here and you keep going and going and going. And if this is checked yes, and on your computer is checked yes, then that information is going from your computer through the cloud to your phone, or from your phone to the cloud to the computer. And the same settings have to be on your iPad. Then when you go all the way down, there's your iCloud Drive. See that? You click on, see that one there? It says iCloud Drive. So you click on that one. I can't click on it backwards. Everything else that'll be here. trying to see it so I can show you what I'm seeing. Everything else that's here, if that iCloud Drive is turned on, that means that your iCloud Drive is working. That does not necessarily mean that your documents and desktop folders are there. But see, I have a lot of things on, and that's because I want whatever I do on my phone to be replicated on my computer. If those green things are off, or they're off on your computer, then the circle isn't happening all the way around. Okay? Now, let me show you one more thing. I was trying to find if my, I know, I don't have my, I'm looking for the iCloud app. Hold on, I'm opening it up. Okay. There's an app you can download called the iCloud Drive app from the store. And if you use that, then you are able to see really quickly everything that's in your iCloud. I, on the other hand, have something else download because I don't have that necessarily. And so what I do is I have something called files. So if you go to, if you just browse, if you don't know where your files are, if you just pull down a little bit like that, you'll see a search bar. And if you write the word files in that search bar, like I did, a little app called Files pops on, and that's automatically in your computer, in your phone, so it should be there. And when you click on Files, see how it says iCloud Drive? When you click on that, Files, then you'll get, sorry, I'm clicking on the wrong thing just because I'm backwards. When you click on Files, then that gives you access to all the files that are in your iCloud Drive from your phone or from your iPad. Okay? Did anyone find that one?
Diana?
Yes.
Diana? Yolanda here.
Yeah.
I am on the iCloud. And where did you go to have the files? I'm in those, with the bubble of green mail contacts. Where do I need to go?
On a regular phone, if you don't if you don't know where an app is, you pull down like a little bit like that, and then a search comes up. So
okay, I got it.
Files in there, the Files app should pop up, and then when you click on it, that'll lead you to seeing the files on your phone that I've been telling you. They're on your phone, they're on your iPad, there they are. Did everyone find that?
Yeah, got it. I was in the, I was in another mode.
Kath, you said no?
I don't have it. I got to the right place. It says there's 130 whatever's on my iCloud Drive, but 0 is on my phone. No, none of my files are on my
Okay, so
phone.
have you checked in your system, in your system settings and preferences, whether you have your settings on both sides?
Yes, and I think I do. That's the thing I can't quite understand.
Well,
I definitely have it on my computer and on my.
So you do you have them on your computer or on the cloud? What was your?
Oh, everything is on the cloud. Everything is on the cloud.
Okay, so then on your phone, if I can, unless you turn it around and show it to me, I can't see. Yeah, you have to. It's a hard one.
Okay, hold on. Oh, tell me. I'll show you what I did. I went to look for my files and.
You can't share your phone if you plug it in and stuff like that. But I don't want to get so intrusive. You could also look and see if you have an app called iCloud. There's another app called iCloud that you might have instead of the app called Files. If you click, do the same thing. Go down, go here and search for something called iCloud, which I don't have, but you might have. And that's another app that if you click, it shows you all the stuff in your iCloud.
You know, I don't need to take everybody's time. I can come back and work with you on it, but I can't find them. I mean, it came up with 0 files. And I know that my phone and my iPad are.
Okay.
And
anyone else see some of your files in there?
No, 0. I'm 0.
Anyone else having not is everyone else pretty much seeing them then?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so then we'll see what's up with you now. Norma had her hand up. Do you have a A suggestion there? No. Okay. So if it was about how to show your phone, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole of having everyone share their phone screen right now. So we'll deal with that. If the majority of the people see them, then that's good. Audrey, yeah.
I was just wondering, because I was looking at my document and under Zoom, I have some things that surprised me that I have. My question is, this meeting is being recorded. Would I be able to save this meeting, under documents, or save it to my desktop? So if I wanted to access,
it's being recorded by me.
yes, can I save this somewhere?
You could record it as well. It's a huge file, and there's no need, because I'll give you a link that it's up on the internet where you can see it whenever you want.
Right.
If you want to record it, you can. Yeah.
But if I wanted to see it, like say 6 months from now, if I have it saved, then I can access it. But you're only going to be saving it only for a certain amount of time, right?
I'm not planning to take them off the internet, but I can't swear what I'll be doing in 3 years. But they're going to still be there as long as you have the links, which I don't plan to get rid of either. So yeah.
Okay.
But if you want to record it, you can. You're welcome to record it. These are big files. But if you click on your record button because you want to record it yourself, then you can click on your record button. I'll give you permission to record, and then it'll save on your computer, and you can have it on your own. You're welcome to do that. But
thank you.
I'm also not planning to take my computer classes off, nor the links off. So your choice. Yeah, you guys are totally welcome to make your own recordings. Okay.
Okay.
Have a little record button there at the bottom, and you can click. And if you do that, I'll get asked, can this person record? And I'll say yes, and you'll start recording, and that file will be saved on your computer. Okay. So yeah, thanks for asking that. In case anyone wants to do their own recording, that's how you would do that. Now, let me go ahead and share over here my setting that do have my stuff on the cloud, which is this one. As far as you're concerned, all that matters is knowing that these files, if I were to lose this computer they're living in, they're safe because they're also up on the cloud. So when you use them, it makes no difference. As far as you're concerned, they feel and look and act as if they are on your computer. Okay? So, so that's all that I need you to know. But if you do like George did, which you go, you know what, I don't want them on the cloud, and you disconnect this click, please don't do it willy-nilly. If you say, no, I really only want my files in my computer and nowhere else, I don't need to reach them from any other device, I don't need to reach them from Argentina, I have no reason why I would want them up there, which is a perfectly good answer. Two things. You should at least have, for sure, a time machine backup to save those files, because if something happens to your computer, they are gone and lost forever. So a backup, at least, would save them either online. I'm going to teach you that at the end of the class, how to back things up. So that's one thing. And then B, if you do turn this off, your files will disappear from your computer and will only be on the cloud, which is kind of backwards, right? Because you'd go, if I'm turning this off because I don't want them on the cloud, what happens though is they end up only on the cloud. And that's when George said, well, then suddenly I unclicked this and they were all gone from my computer. Then you have to do 2 more steps to grab those files from the cloud and re-drag them and copy them back down onto your computer. And at that point, they remain disconnected. And from there on, any changes on your computer do not replace themselves on the cloud. Again, if that's your choice, I have a handout in my handouts folder saying how to recover your files from the cloud and bring them back into your desktop if you did uncheck that was already checked. Now, if you never checked it, that's fine, they're still there. But if you uncheck it, I have the steps you need to follow to put the files back onto your computer, because in all intents and purposes, the opposite of what you want happens when you uncheck. The opposite means all the stuff ends up there and not down here, which is bizarre and weird, but anyway, that's how it works. Okay, is that pretty clear? For those of you wanting to uncheck, they will look like they're gone. then you have to recopy them back down, and then you've achieved the independence of the system. Okay? So I don't propose that it's the easiest thing to do, but if you need to do it, there is a way to do it. It's not hard. It's just a few steps, and you need to be relatively comfortable with file management in order to uncheck that box. Now, when it got checked, why it's there, it might be that you purposely, because of this class, decided, hey, I want that system, and you checked it. If you check it, that's really quick. Yes, if it's unchecked and you decide, hey, I want my stuff to be all over, just check it. That's a quick one. Nothing happens. It starts copying out. Next thing you know, everything is everywhere. But if you uncheck it, that's the one that has consequences, okay? So checking it because you decide you want to opt in, just go ahead, check it. That works. All right. That's seamless. All right. What time is it? I have a half hour left. I want to show you guys I'm going to finish up this conversation so we can start with email and all the different apps next week. But I want to be clear that everyone really knows where their stuff is and how to handle it and how to find it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move these out of the way so you can't see them, but I'll bring them up when I need to show you something. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys on your computer how to access the cloud. Meaning, when you're in your computer, normally you don't need to access the cloud because the stuff is there. But if you are on someone else's computer, if you're traveling, those of you who were at school, you know, when we met at school, from the school computer, you can access your clouds on your computer if they're in the cloud. And that's what I'm going to show you, how to access your computer files when you are on any computer. You happen to be on your own computer, so it's a little bit of a double, you know, but that's what I'm going to show you how to do. Okay? Ready for that, guys? First thing we need to do, open up your browser. And by the way, if you use a Mac browser, which is Safari, all is good. If you use another browser because you used to be a PC user, or someone told you that Google Chrome is better or Firefox is better, there are definitely things that Google Chrome and Firefox might be better or not, or different. You know, each one is a different brand. Like, so you have 5 pair of brands of jeans, and some people swear forever to wear Lee's, and some Levi's, and some, you know, it fits your body better. God, things are different, but they're the same thing. So if you're tied to using Chrome, that's fine, but be aware that Chrome on a Mac uses system resources way more than Safari does. So if your computer is getting old and slow, you might want to consider switching to Safari. If it's fine and everything works fine, don't worry, use whatever browser you want. But I'm just saying that one of those little things that helps those people who are getting slower and sluggier computers, one thing that might help you, if it's slow going when you're on the internet, just stop using Google Chrome or Firefox. Actually, Firefox is not so bad. Chrome, and use Safari, okay? I have no preference. I use all of them because I need all of them. I design websites, but I'm just letting you know that Safari is a cleaner and better used working browser for Mac users for when speed and system resources matter. So I'm going to teach you how to use Safari because it's a Mac class. So please open your Safari browser, which is the one that has on the dock the icon with the compass. Now, if you haven't been using Safari forever and you took it off your dock and you don't have it there, then the other way to open an app that you do not have on your dock would be to go up to the Spotlight. So the Spotlight is on the far right. Let me put on a little. It's on the far top right of your computer. And it might be hidden right now by photos of the class or by Zoom, but it's a little magnifying glass. And I will be 90 years old and I will not remember how to say the word magnifying glass because I always want to say it in Spanish, which is lupa, you know, for loop. And I will never get the word magnifying glass out at first try. So click on that magnifying glass and then you get the Spotlight search, and then you can write Safari. This is for anyone who does not see Safari on their dock. Any app in the world can be opened this way. There's another way I want to show you that I rarely show, But that someone mentioned the other day, I don't use it, so I forget to show it. But if you're accustomed to using an iPad or on a phone, you like to you open apps by clicking on an icon, right? So we've all been provided that option, and I never show it, so I do want to show it today, which is down on the dock. The third icon in-ish looks like a little rocket ship. It's called Launchpad. See that one? You'll find your Launchpad. Hopefully you all have it. You might not have it. If you don't have it, there's a key on your keyboard for it. But if you see the Launchpad and you click on it, that shows all your apps in icon form. And when you click on Launchpad again, it goes away. If you click on Launchpad, they're all there. You can also hit the escape key for all of them to go away. The other way to get your Launchpad is if you look at your keyboard, top left is the escape key. Then you have the brightness keys. And then the next one, 1, 2, 3, the fourth one then, that's also, no, that's not your, the fifth one, and that's your Launchpad. The fifth one, which is F4, okay? So when you click on that, you get your Launchpad. So that's an access to every single icon application that is not on your dock, okay? So it's a pretty cool shortcut to know, or a pretty cool, you know, F4, and that gives you all the other applications, and these look like the ones on your iPad, right? So then you can just go click on it, click on Safari, and there it opens up. All right, so all of those are ways to open Safari. Does anyone here use their Launchpad a lot?
I do.
Who's that? Yolanda, yeah? And someone else in class the other day said, why not use a Launchpad? And I'm like, yeah, why not? I just don't think about it. So I just wanted to show that to you. I just am not accustomed to using Launchpad, but it's a really comfy one, right? Because it gives you access. Once again, I'm gonna hit the Launchpad with its F4. And if you have more apps than this, which I do, see how there's 3 little dots? Then you just kind of scroll sideways and you have all of the different apps, or you click on this little icon and that gives you the next ones, and then you click on this one and that gives you the next ones. Okay, so that's the 3 different icons for all of every single thing in the world. Instead of having to go into your Finder applications folder, you can do it this way. All right.
Could you show us one more time how to get to that, please, Diana?
Yeah. Either click on the Launchpad icon, which is a rocket ship on your dock, or hit the F4.
I don't have that one.
Or then hit the F4 key, F4, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, the 5th key in from the left on the top of your screen, on the top of your keyboard. That's your Launchpad. Okay? Did everyone find that? It's a pretty cool one. I just never use it, so I forget. So I'm glad that someone reminded me the other day. All right. So that's the other way to get to your applications, and it kind of shows they're trying to make your Mac look more like an iPad or an iPhone. A lot of people access the world of the Mac because they suddenly got an iPhone or they got an iPad and they go, "Ooh, this is cool," and then they got a Mac and suddenly it's like, "Hey, this is an actual computer. It's not an iPad or an iPhone." So what they're doing, the Mac people are trying to match the Mac to be more like your Mac, your computer. And this Launchpad is your access to the apps the way you would on an iPad, just by clicking an icon for the app. Okay. All right. So if we're in Safari, is everyone open Safari now? Okay. If you open Safari, and you will not have the same stuff I have here at all. This is set up by you, but things that you prefer by doing bookmarks and folders of bookmarks and stuff like that. So you might have this done or you might not. But what you might have, if you have not changed anything from the default settings, you might see already a little icon that says iCloud. I do not have that icon, but you might see an icon in yours that says iCloud. If so, go ahead and click it. If you don't, what we're gonna do up here under the search is we're gonna write iCloud.com. So iCloud.com. And then hit return or enter. So iCloud.com. All right, iCloud.com. Now, this is my example. If you go to your sister's house in Minnesota and you want to get the stuff that you have on your computer, go to iCloud.com. If you lose your Apple device, if your computer dies, your phone dies, your iPad dies because, you know, some devastating fire or earthquake happened and you want to get to your files, Find someone's computer, public library, who cares, and go to iCloud.com. And everything that you have in the iCloud will be available to you. All right. So is everyone here in iCloud.com? All right. So first thing you need to do, your Apple ID. Your Apple ID, you all know it. It's the one that I showed you guys. It's that email address from new or your or long ago. And I have a ton of different ones. I'm going to set up the one that's for this one here. And if you say keep me signed in, then you will always be able to get into your iCloud easily. Now, I'm not going to do that. There's also a click here, a link to did you forget your ID or your password? And that takes you to files that tell you how to recover your password. Now, we're going to instead go ahead and click on the icon that says go. And then it asks for the password. Mine is already recorded, memorized. And if yours is already recorded, memorized, then yay. But if it's not, then this is where you need to type it in. And if it doesn't work, then you're the kind of person who needs to go discover your password. Because everywhere else that you've needed it up until now, it has been memorized. And this is your fail-safe for when everything else dies. Like when your computer, your phone, and your iPad die, this is your only fail-safe to get back into your iCloud. So you need to know this password. Have I made myself clear as to why you need to know the password? Because if everything else that memorized it goes away, your stuff is hiding behind this password. So it's an important password to know. All right. If you do know it, type it in. If it's memorized, yay. And if you do not know it, now you just watch the rest of the class because you're going to have to go down to the forgot Apple or password, but do that later. First, watch the rest of the class so you can see what's behind this password. All right. It's a few steps. You need to have your phone next to you. Do y'all have your phone or your iPad next to you? Because you're going to be asked for some stuff. All right. So click on the arrow to keep going. And you probably will get, if you've never done this, or even if you've done this and you didn't memorize the system, it'll say your Apple ID is being used to sign into a new device. Do you want to allow that or not? Yeah. Say yeah. So then you need to say allow. Now, once you say allow, if you picked up your phone and turned it on, you'll notice that you got the same request on your phone. It said allow or not allow. So you can allow it from your phone as well or from your iPad as well. What's that? No. Oh, yeah. So what you'll notice that after you say allow on your device, you'll be giving a number that you need to type in. Type in that number. So that's, say it again. 370094 was the code that I got. If you picked up your phone or your iPad, you would have gotten a code. Did everyone see what I'm talking about? Now, why is this so complicated? It's to make sure that no one else is getting into your iCloud but you yourself. But what if you lost your iPhone? Well, hopefully, this is the whole thing I said before, you have another way to retrieve this information, right? So you need to have one of your devices with you, or you have to be able to online go check your, I don't know, your Yahoo Mail, your second email, and that's where you get the information. Does that make sense? This is the, are you really you? The only person who could be in here is really you, so let me make you jump through a lot of hoops. These are the hoops we're jumping to prove that we are ourselves. And it's the security system. Now, do you trust this? Yeah, trust. I know that this is fine. This is a good one, so I'm going to trust. Once you say trust, and you put in the numbers, and you said allow, now this is your iCloud Drive. Up in the sky, kind of. Which you can access if you can do these steps from anywhere in the world or in the country. And if your stuff that I've been telling you forever is on the cloud, this is it. This is the cloud. You are in your iCloud, and you can get your mail mail as long as it's an Apple ID, actual Apple mail. We'll talk about that later because in your computer you get many mails, but up here in the cloud you can only get your Apple mail. So many of you will have nothing if your mail is a Gmail or whatever, but if you have a Mac.com or a me.com or an iCloud.com that you use as your email, you will find it here. All your contacts, all your calendar appointments, your photos, for those of you who do have your photos also on the cloud, your notes, your reminders, your pages, your numbers, everything I told you, and the good old iCloud Drive. Inside of the good old iCloud Drive, if you have your desktop documents, there they are. So I'm going to double click on my documents right there. And when I open that up, all of the documents that I have in here, and I know that it looks different because they are icons, but these are the same ones that I just showed you that I have in my documents folder. Okay, so if I can, using Pipeline and logging into for the first time, there it is, using Pipeline and logging into for the first time. ABC Quick Check Blue, there it is, ABC Quick Check Blue. Adobe Jensen Pro, Adobe Jensen Pro. Okay, so basically this is my computer finder, and this is way up on the cloud, which I could be seen from anywhere in the world, and the same files are in one as in another. Do you see that?
Deanna?
Yeah.
Marcia, I'm on my phone, and I'm on my account on iCloud, and I only see photos, notes, and then find my iPhone. I don't see my mail and all my other apps that are turned on my iCloud.
Okay, so you're not in your, it's different on your phone.
Oh.
On your phone, you have an app to check your mail, you have an app to check those things, and that's where that all shows up.
Okay.
Right? But on the internet, the way it shows up is by giving you access to a folder that gives you your files. Okay, so it's just a different place to check them.
Got it.
That's all. Here, so let me go backwards to explain what you said. Over here, you got, if you go, you can go back by going over here to where it says iCloud Drive, click on that and go to the other things. So if I were to want to check my contacts, I'd go here. But on your phone, just open your contacts app. If I need to check my calendar, I go here, but on your phone, just open your calendars app, right? So it's just the actual app on your phone has the information that is held up here in the cloud. Is that? On the other hand, I can just click on the calendar here and it opens up a version of my cloud right there. And this is my calendar, which is ridiculously complicated and tremendously useful to me. But that is the same thing as if I now go and open my calendar on my phone, and I don't know which screen you're looking at, but there it is, my calendar on my phone. Or if I open my calendar on my computer, which right now in this version, I don't have it set up. So that's my calendar. And so I click over here and I say, instead I want to go and see my, iCloud Drive, then that's my files. If I want to see, it's like another app. If I want to see anything I wrote in Pages, and I click on Pages and I have any file that's been written in Pages, and I haven't yet written in this version because I have a different ID for my teaching stuff. So I don't think, maybe I have one or two things here. I don't know if I have anything here in Pages. It's looking for them. I don't remember in this version of my ID if I put anything in Pages, but that's where it would be, okay? Or my mail, or my reminders, or my notes. I use my notes a lot, okay? So this is where you would find them, or my contacts. There it is. Yeah, it does look like I had a couple of things here that I made in class. I typically make, these are things that I make here in class for sampling for my, okay? So these are the files that I have in my place over there. Anyone for whom you don't see what you expect to see in your cloud?
May I ask one more question about is it safe to have our password and automatic sign in with that verification code that we get for the iCloud account?
Is it safe to have your password memorized?
It automatically comes up for me. I've set it in as a memory.
Yeah, it's fine to have it memorized as long as it's in your computer. The problem is that if your computer dies, then you won't be able to
Yeah,
remember
okay.
it if you have it memorized. But is it safe? Well, you saw how it makes you jump through hoops. Someone who's trying to get into your cloud has to have not only access to your Apple ID and password, but it also has to have access to one of your devices and has to be able to say yes to cross-check and reference. So someone has all of that of yours, they can get in, but if they don't, it's pretty safe. Does that make sense?
Yes, so you're saying it's okay to have my iCloud password stored on my computer?
Yeah, it is. And I always say that with a caveat, depends on if you're the kind of person who is really, 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 and I'm not saying in a bad way paranoid, but to give you an idea, when I say paranoid, I mean someone who's very, very, very careful with security. And if in your house you have locks on every door and bars on every door and 3 keys, you know, in New York, come on. And you have a lot of different ways to protect yourself before getting into your house. You might want to be the kind of person who chooses to not have your passwords memorized, remember them all in your head. But if you assume that, you know, a couple keys are enough and, you know, the computer's password, then if that's your level of what you feel comfortable with security, then sure, have it memorized. And for people who, hey, I don't care about anything, everyone can come in, my house is always open, then maybe you just like tell everyone your password, you know, it depends. But basically, I think that if your computer remembers it and you don't have a host of people coming in, like if you have 3 roommates and all of you use the same computer, don't memorize your passwords, right? But if you're the only one who uses a computer and you have a password that when you open it up, someone needs to open your password, knowing your password, your computer, then already you have a block before they can get into here, right? So it's steps and steps that you set up. My computer, everyone in my family knows my password. So anyone in my family can open my computer and know how to get into it because everyone knows my computer's password. But no one outside of my family knows my computer's password. So the moment I stop trusting my family, then I change my password and then no one but me can get into my computer, right? So that's just like regular security-based questions. In the handouts, I do have a security file that was given to us by one of our security experts at City College. And he shared his presentation and I have it in my handouts. If you really want to take security seriously, see that watch that presentation because it tells you how to make really secure passwords and how to save your passwords. And it has a lot of information for the people who really and truly want to be very, very, very serious and secure because you might have stuff on your computer of that nature that needs to be very secure, you know, client information or stuff that you don't want people other than you to handle, in which case you got to put on some big old good passwords. All right.
Thank you.
Now, what I'm going to do after this finding, exploration, discovery of your actual iCloud, unless you are not on your computer, you don't need to be seeing this, okay? So if you've discovered that what you want, what you think was there is there, another thing is if your Photos app is connected to the cloud and you click on Photos, this is where you would see your photos on the, for those of you who took my iLife class, and if your photos are connected, then you would see them here. My photos are not, which is why you don't have them here. But for the most part, those of you, I just have a few sample ones that I use for teaching, but for the most part, my photos aren't here. But if you are one of the people who does have your iCloud Photos library connected to the internet, that's where you would see them. Now, I'm gonna back out of this and we're gonna sign out because you do not need to be signed into this at any point unless you're not on your computer. So over on the far right where you see your name, click on that and say sign out. I do not want to leave this sign in your computer because you don't need to access this other than from some. Sign out of this iCloud.com. If you trust this browser, you will not be asked for a verification code the next time you sign in, which if you want to be able to sign out and into this place, then go ahead, say trust and sign out. Since I teach with this, I'm not going to say that because I want it every time to ask me because every time I want to be able to demonstrate this, right? So I'm not going to say trust and signed out. But if you know that you're the only one who has a computer, go ahead and say trust and sign out. And then we're down, we're out again. And now if we want to get in again, we have to go through that whole process again, okay? So I don't memorize things on this computer. On my regular computer, I do have it memorized. Okay. Now, I had one more thing that I wanted to show you, which is how to get to my handouts. So I'm going to stop and take questions. It's, you know, a few minutes to the end of class. So any questions about all of this? And then I'm going to proceed to show how to get to my handouts again. So those of you who don't need that are welcome to say goodbye and sign out. And those of you who do need that, hang out while I show you that. Now, I do want to show you some files in my handouts that I want you to do as homework. So if you know how to get there, they are all the iCloud information handouts. But if you want to see which ones, then hang on for a little bit longer. And I will now take you to my handouts so that you can all know how to get to your handouts, know how to get to the class recordings, know how to open that Zoom presentation, know how to open the security presentation, and so on and so forth. Okay? So if anyone needs to leave, then goodbye. See you next week. Email me with questions. And for those of you who want to hang on, then here we go.
Lady, could you please stop at the barking? I have to talk to her. I'm so sorry.
Okay. I'm getting a lot of noises, so I'm going to mute everyone. That was not my dog this time. So I just muted everyone. If you need to speak to me again, you're going to have to unmute yourself because I have just blanket muted everyone. You can only hear me. Okay? All right. So now on this browser, what you're going to do now is you're going to, and I'm going to move this over a little bit to the left. I think most people's photos appear on the right. We're going to go to Pipeline. And again, you might have shortcuts for that or not, but I'm going to just type the whole thing, sbcc.edu, and hit enter. I always take you through the whole process, but if you just memorize these things with, I'm going to teach you later to make bookmarks and stuff, then you don't have to do all that. Hit Pipeline on the left side and sign in. And as you can see, it's easiest to have your password memorized so that you don't have to sign in each time, but otherwise put in your username and password. This is to get to the handouts, okay? You go to City College, you sign into Pipeline. These are the 6 steps. That was 1, 2. Then you go to student non-credit. Click on student non-credit. Student non-credit. If you are also a credit student, you will only see the word student instead. Click on student and then on student resources. But over here, you are in student resources. So now head over to the right side. So after you hit student non-credit, you go over to the right side of your screen. And do you see Google Drive? Click on Google Drive. My handout teaches you also that here you can get to LinkedIn Learning. In LinkedIn Learning, I showed you that there's apps for how to use Catalina, how to use Mojave, how to use the iCloud, how to use Photos. So that's a really good place. This is also where you could go and sign up for free Microsoft Office 365, those of you who are interested in that. And you need to sign in with your Pipeline email, your school Pipeline email, because you're signing in for free only because you're a student. So don't go on using your own personal Gmail if you use this, or you will not get it for free. Just as, okay, so click on Google Drive. And here on the left, go to the word shared with me. Shared with me. You will see different things here than me. You will not be seeing the same things as me under my drive. It's whatever your drive, but you will see under shared with me, you will see a series of names here, and you might need to scroll down because you might have smaller or bigger, but one of the things that you should be seeing, and you won't see it like mine, it'll be a big box, but you should see something called Intro to Mac. And if you hover over it, Mac Level 1, Level 2, Summer to 2020. It's not going to visually look like same than me, so just look for anything in here that says Intro to Mac, and that's what you need to go to. I'm the teacher. I made these. It looks different for me, and when I demo it, I should probably have someone else demo this part usually, because then you'll see it the way students see it. But anyway, double click into Intro to Mac, and now in Intro to Mac, you see all of my handouts. Now, all of these handouts, I have flipped them, so instead of from A to Z, they show up Z to A, because my Zoom ones, the last named ones, are the ones, and to do that, see this little arrow? Yours is probably pointing up. If it's pointing up, then it's going A to Z, all right? A to Z. And so the Zoom files are down here. If you flip them, then you'll see them Z to A. The whole point is that under the Zoom class recordings, this is for the level 1 recording classes, and this one here I started now is level 2. So if you click on that one, you'll see this is a link to the recording for last week's class. All right, so Audrey, are you still here? No, Audrey left, and that's a pity because she wanted to know how to get to the handouts. But anyway, this is a link for last week's class, and by the end of today, early tomorrow, depending on how long it takes to get closed captions, you will have a link here for today's class as well, and so on and so forth. I keep filling it out. Now, to get out of this mode, you have to go backwards in your arrow. Click on this backwards arrow to go back to everything else. And the homework is that I do want you guys now to read iCloud settings. This is the one that explains all the stuff I went through today. This is your Apple ID, this is your iCloud settings. This is how it looks like on your phone or on your iPad. Okay, so this is the class I just taught you today, and this is a reminder. Now, if you are in Catalina, I have to update this handout because I do not have yet the handout that says how it looks like in Catalina, because this has worked for many years looking the same, and it just shifted, and I don't have that. I might need to ask someone, Norma, someone who has Catalina, to give me some screenshots to update this handout. This is the how to restore your desktop documents after disabling the iCloud sync. So this is all the steps. If you decided to turn that off, then all your stuff will disappear, and this is telling you how to fix that. Then I have the iCloud. Where was the one that tells you the differences between the cloud and the iCloud? What's the name of it? Where is it? There's where's the iCloud versus cloud versus iCloud? I had a handout here I don't find, but in the links to iCloud and iCloud Drive here, I have what is the iCloud Drive and how it's different from the iCloud. And the complete guide to the iCloud, and iCloud Drive, the ultimate guide. What happens if you turn your files off, which is what I just told you. So these are links to information. But I had a handout that talked about the different I wanted you to read. Anyway, and here's if you forgot your Apple ID password, here's what you need to do to reset your password, okay? So basically, I have a lot of stuff here that hopefully will be helpful for you to understand the iCloud. And if you need more space in your iCloud and you need to buy more space, these are the prices. $9.99 per month for 50 gigs, $12 a year, $2.99 for 200 gigs, and so on and so forth. We all have 5 gigabytes of free. So if you turn on your check mark that you do want your iCloud to store your stuff, 5 gigabytes might be enough. But if it says it's not enough, then you need to start paying 99 cents a month. And if you turn on your photos, then you might need to go from $5.99, from 50 to 200 gigabytes, depending on how much space you need. All right, so yeah, just check on these and see which ones work for you. I think I don't see the security. I don't see the one that I said that I had here for security, but I do know I had it in the previous version of handouts. This is my Zoom training one, but I don't see the security one. So I'm gonna put it up here. I'm gonna add one that talks about how to be ultra secure. And it's gonna be called something like security settings. It'll be there when I get off. I'm gonna put it in there, so you'll find it there next time you check it. Okay, I also said that I would upload the PDF to the file classes, Usually I send a handout telling people, an email telling people what my classes are, but I haven't done that yet. But I will upload a PDF in here too, okay? By the way, you will not stop having access to this folder when the class is over. I will leave you with access to this folder. So if you know how to access this folder, all this stuff will be there for you. Okay? Even when the class is over. Thus, all the links to the different recordings will be available. Okay. Any other questions?
This is George. I have two questions. One is, if I disconnect from the iCloud drive by clicking off on it, how long does my stuff stay on the iCloud? And question number two.
Forever. Forever.
Stays forever. Okay. And then the other question is, how can I see what the password is that the computer has memorized?
Okay, that is a bit different. That's the keychain, and I haven't taught the keychain. And basically, you need go and open your keychain. So if you don't know, go to the Spotlight and write keychain. I'm not going to actually demo it as much because then, but I can demo it a little bit. So basically, here's my keychain, and it'll ask you for a password to get in. My password's already memorized, right? And then over here, you're going to have to go and click on the word passwords, which I won't do right now. Because when you click on the word passwords, then you will see that anything that you have with a password has a password, and you won't be able to see that password until, again, you give it your computer password. So it's kind of a double set of steps to protect you, but I'm not going to do that right now, but that's how you would do that. Do you see it in front of you?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Diana, I have a question too. And I don't want to bother everybody else, but I can get on the iCloud drive and I can find my desktop and my documents. And is that the only way for me to get to those items to work on them? Is to go through that link on my iCloud drive?
Are you talking about your iPad or your computer?
I'm talking about my phone, excuse me, my phone.
On your phone, yes. In your computer, if your files or folders are, say that your file is Pages file, then you can open your Pages app on your phone and use it there. But if it's a Word document and you downloaded the Word app for your phone, then you open your Word document and there it is. So it all depends on what it is. But if it's a file that's just hanging there from something that you don't have on your phone, then that's the only place you'll see it.
So I have to go through the iCloud drive to get to that information. And that includes
Why
my
not? I have it under Files. Did you find Files? Did you see it under Files?
Well, I found the information, but I didn't find it under Files. I found it under
iCloud. Yeah. So it depends. There's the iCloud Drive app or the Files app, and depending on what's on your computer, that's where it is. Yeah.
And the same is true for the desktop. I have to go through iCloud Drive to find my desktop on my phone.
No, on your computer, it just looks like it's on your computer. That's all.
Yeah, my computer's great, but on my phone, I had to go through iCloud Drive.
On your phone, yes. Yes.
Okay.
On your computer, they just are on your computer. Yeah. On your phone or on your iPad, you see them in your iCloud Drive. Because, see, here's the difference. The computer is made to hold files.
Right.
Phones and iPads historically have never held files, and that's been the big difference. Suddenly, there's an option. They made an app where if you click on that app, oh, look, there I see files. But there is no other place on the phone where you can see files. And so it's through this app that gives you access to that file management system. There is no native file management system on a phone or on an iPad other than through this app.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Diane?
Yes?
This might not be for now, but if you have things in the iCloud that I really didn't need to send there, can I delete them? And will they come off of my computer as well?
If your iCloud and your computer are connected because the check mark is on, then it is all one and the same. You can't say, I didn't mean to send them there. If they're on your computer, they're in the cloud. So the only situation would be if your check mark is off and what you're on your computer and you're having in the cloud is different, in which case yes, you don't need to have the same stuff on either one. But if you have your iCloud desktop and documents turned on, anything you delete on the top will delete on your computer. It's one same thing. So don't delete it. And it's not unnecessary to be there. It's just that that's where they are. Everything is everywhere.
Okay,
And if
but
you
if I
own it,
do-
because it's important in one device, it's considered important in the other device, and it's everywhere.
okay,
If you don't want it at all and you delete it, it deletes from everywhere.
okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Diana,
Yes?
I have a question about mail. Have you discussed mail today?
No, I haven't discussed mail today.
Is that going to be in a later
That's
class?
next week. Mhm.
I'm having so much trouble with that mail.
Okay.
It just
Well,
goes crazy. It
If
locks
no
up
one
my
else has any
computer.
other questions, I can give you a hand, but I'm not going to explain anything to anyone because that is next week. So if there's a quick fix I can help you with, I will help you with a quick fix.
House past the no ban.
I
Y'all
do
wait
have
for
a
it.
question
Right,
if you have
someone's
time.
talking in the
Yeah.
background, so I'm going to mute everyone again. As soon as class is over, people start talking, so now you're all muted again. Okay. So is there any other quick question before I help Dorothy? Yes, John?
I was looking for my Launchpad, and I wonder if I could screen share with you, because it doesn't seem to be able to. I pushed F4 and nothing happened. Also,
Okay.
my bar across the very top, the escape button has changed. As I've been tidying things up through this class, I've changed things and like the escape button at the top left corner isn't there anymore.
On your keyboard?
On my keyboard, I have my computer's about a year old, and I have Catalina on it. And
There is no escape key on the top left on a new keyboard?
not at the moment. I mean, what it's showing me now is the Zoom information.
Oh, you have that little bar.
Yeah, that one. And that's where the escape button used to be. But somehow I've changed that. And I don't know how. But anyway, I'd like to get that Launchpad thing, but when I
Okay,
click
the Launchpad thing, go ahead and go to the spotlight, click on the spotlight and write Launchpad, and it would pop up, and then you can make that appear on your doc. Share your screen, and
Okay.
I don't know about not having that top row of buttons available. I know I did have my host daughter had one of those new Macs with the strip, and I know it worked differently, but I don't have one. She left, so I don't know.
It says I can't share because someone else is.
Oh, me, I'm talking and sharing. I forgot. I'm done sharing. Yeah.
Okay. There you are. There's me.
Okay. So your dock on the left doesn't have the Launchpad. If you go all the way to the left, let me see. No, it doesn't have it. So go ahead and since I can't tell you to press F4, go up. You don't have a thing called F4 anymore on your key on the Catalina? None of your keys? The function keys are gone?
I just pushed F4 and nothing happened.
Okay, so then go to the spotlight.
I mean, I pushed the letter F and the number 4. Is there
No,
something?
no. F4, if the top row of buttons that used to show brightness and darkness and volume and all of those, have those all been replaced by the strip?
Yes, now it's showing me altogether different. It used to have that, but now it just has, I mean, it doesn't have my escape key, and it doesn't have those quick key things you talked about.
I wasn't aware that row of keys had disappeared. I have to say that is news to me. So I need to go and sit at the Mac store one of these days and play around with that so I can support you. But anyway, go ahead and say Launchpad. There you go. Hit enter now. And it's launched. It's like you're on the second page. So see how there's little, you can with your mouse scroll sideways a bit to get to the first page. Not on the dock, but on the screen. Scroll to the right. There, that's it. And then you can go to the other side. That's your last ones. Go wherever you scroll the other way now. The other way, there you go. So those are your 3. See how you have 3 dots at the bottom of this screen above the dot? Above the dot, those are the 3 pages. You can also click on each one of those 3 dots, and that's your Launchpad. But yeah, go ahead and hit enter. But I'm not seeing.
I don't see it there either.
Yeah, so if you go to the A, B, C, D, E, F, G, where's the L? A, oh, you don't have them by alphabetical order here. You must have them by most used order or something. So let me show you another way to get to it. So hit escape to get out of this mode.
Okay. Is that tab or what?
Escape. Oh, you don't have escape. Just
Yeah, that's what I want to get.
yeah.
back
I
to,
don't
but
know
I
how to
don't
do
know
your
how.
escape. Click on just. I think if you just click on your Finder window, like the very far left Finder icon, because I'm gonna done that. Then go to applications up there, and then scroll to see. You need to scroll sideways a bit to see the names of your applications. Kind of do a little. Well, yeah, a little. Okay, and then go to the L to see if we can open up the, stop. You went up past the L. There it is, Launchpad. Grab that and put it in the dock. Drag it into your dock. And there you go. Now you have it. Oh, you let go before. Yeah, I don't know where you went with it. So go back to your Finder. And drag it again and wait for a second. Just go down and wait until something makes space. Yeah, and let go right there. There you go. So now you have it in there. So there you go. Now you have it in there, but I don't know how to help you with the escape key. You might have to go and get a manual on how to use your Mac and read up how to use that thing to return the escape key on. I really do not know how to help you with that. I don't have one of those computers with me. Sorry.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks so much.
If
Good.
someone ever gifts me one, I will happily have one. It is actually a point that I have to have the software that I teach, and software is fine, but the computer itself, I can't just upgrade to a new
I
computer.
really don't like this Catalina upgrade. It's changed my
What
photos.
you did is not Catalina. Your question is your computer. The strip is not about Catalina.
Yeah.
It's about the computer. And a lot of people love the strip and other people hate it. And probably your experience is one of them, that you can't make it show. And I'm sure that if I had it, I'd know to tell you, oh, it's easy. Click on this and it goes away. But since I don't have it, I don't have the answer.
Okay. All right. Thank you anyway.
Okay.
Okay.
Anyone else who's hanging out who has a question? Yeah, Hannah?
Yeah.
Oh, Justine's been trying to ask. I know she doesn't have a hand to wave, but I heard her voice. So. Yeah.
Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Thank you. So I, again, don't know if this is something to address right now, but when I click on my Apple ID, I go to System Preferences, click on Apple ID, it basically just says Start Using iCloud. And it wants me to click on Start Using iCloud because I'm not.
Yeah.
So how big a consideration is that? I mean, should I just click it? Or is it something to, I just wanted some guidance on.
Yeah, I basically, like I said, if you want your stuff to also be on the cloud, because if this computer dies, all your stuff is gone.
Right.
Then go ahead and start using it, and then it'll connect and your stuff will be in both places. But it's up to you. It's not the consideration of security is, I have never heard of Apple being hacked in, but then again, even the Pentagon was hacked in, right?
Yeah.
So, and,
I mean, I think
someone can steal your computer and you've lost everything, versus if it's on the
Right.
cloud, it's there. So
I do see the value of it. So should I just, if I just go ahead and click it now, I mean, there's basically no risk. I mean, like you said, aside from the far outside chance that someone could hack into it, but like you said, they haven't
They
yet.
can also hack in through your Wi-Fi into your computer. If you were like
Right.
a famous
Right.
actress, some personality, a politician that people are persecuting, I would say, well, maybe put a lot of security in there. But
Right,
if you're
right.
just a normal, regular person like most of us, it's
Yeah.
doubtful you'll be targeted by a deep hacker who would
Right,
know how to do
right. Yeah, exactly. What do I have that they want? But I guess my other question is, if I just click this now, start using iCloud, is it going to change anything about my experience of interacting with my files and my folders? Like, is it going to make it different the way I do things?
Well, yes and no. Only if what you do is check that, yes, put my desktop and documents on the cloud. If you do check that, then your stuff, you won't notice any difference. But when you go look at your files, you'll see that the end path is in the cloud. So you can connect to the Apple ID without doing that. That's your choice. I've kind of explained back and forth if you want it or not want it. But if you do that, then probably on your Android phone, you can download an iCloud Drive app and be able to see your files from your phone. If that's something that's interesting or important to you.
I'm not
On the
really
other
that
hand,
concerned about that.
if
I'm
not,
not that, yeah.
if you don't check that mark, then your files and folders remain on your computer. But your computer is still connected to Apple in the sense that all of the stuff that you have in your calendar or events or notes or all that stuff, if you use them, they will go up to the cloud, and then you can connect them to your phone and or not, but at least they're saved in the cloud in case of a catastrophe. And on an Android, you can access and read your events and your notes and stuff that you have on your Mac, as long as you have them connected up to the cloud. So just because you have an Android doesn't mean it doesn't work. It's just that you need to download apps that allow you to get those things from on your Android. But that's all it would mean. But if you don't do any of that, and all you do is that you connect to the cloud, then they're connected. Now, I find it easier to have my contacts be the same. So if, say that I meet you on the street and you tell me, oh, I've changed my phone number, I pull up my phone. I change your phone number on my phone, and I know that it's also changed on my computer. And if you use one set of apps on your phone and one set of apps on your computer, then you might have two different phone numbers from me. Versus if you choose one, either on your computer or on your phone, and try to get them connected through the cloud system, then you're always with the same information, right? So it's a choice to make whether you want to have that system work smoothly, or you just want to have, hey, never mind, I'm aware this is happening and I have one thing in there and one here.
Yeah, I've never connected them. So I mean, I just keep phone numbers in my phone. I don't keep contacts on my computer.
And is your phone backed up in any way that if you lose your phone, will you lose all your contacts? I want to know. Android has ways to do that through, maybe you can do it through Microsoft or through Google or through other
I've
ways.
never done that, so I guess not. I guess it's not backed up.
So
anyway,
that would be my question, right?
Yeah, that's another issue. Anyway, but so if I go ahead now and just click start using iCloud, the main thing I wanted to know is, is it going to change the way things look and the way things, the way I do things on my computer? It sounds like
no, and no.
Okay. It just means that it's, they're securely held someplace else, so that if
up in the cloud,
Okay, I just did it. I just clicked it.
Yay!
Woohoo! All right.
Big change.
Well, yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Report to me if anything scary happens and you need, but you shouldn't, right? So, okay. Anna?
Yeah. I have a quick question. On my computer, I can get to the cloud using my username and password, but when I do it on my phone, I guess you can't see this, it won't allow me in. It's not accepting the password. I don't know why.
Do you have upper or lowercase? Do you have a different Apple ID? Is it possible that your computer and your phone have different Apple IDs? I mean, if you already know that your stuff already is using, like if you see your stuff that's on your computer on your phone, then that's fine. Then you know that things are working. So then your Apple ID is the same. Do you have like your photos, for example, flowing through?
Yes, they are.
Well, then it's
that's why.
Some people have a different Apple ID, which you should never have, and then have one on the other, and it's like belongs to two different people. But if you have the same Apple ID, then can you put it a bit closer to the camera to see if I can stop seeing put it like on the camera. The camera is up on the top of the camera with that little.
Here, okay.
Yeah, and let me pin your video so I can see it bigger. On your phone, it says, keep me a sec. gmail.com. As long as you didn't make any typos and you're sure you didn't have any typos on there.
There's no typo.
Then it should be working. It's exactly. Now, how are you accessing this? Did you go to Safari on your phone, or is it the iCloud app?
Yes, I went to Safari.
Yeah, on the phone, you don't need to go to Safari, because on the phone, actually turn that around so you can see that. Instead, go ahead and download the iCloud app or find the Files app. And that way you don't need to use Safari to access something that's supposed to be on your phone anyway. It's like a roundabout. The whole point of the phone, it's being filled in with all the stuff that's in the cloud. So
I see.
So go ahead and do a little search by pulling down your finger and seeing, if you write the iCloud, see what shows up, if it's something you need to download or if something that you have.
Okay. Okay. Just go to the regular search. Okay.
If
Do you want to show me what's happening or tell me what's happening?
Well, I'm trying to find it on my screen. I don't see it on the screen. I've just got a bunch of other stuff on the screen.
So
But,
pull with your finger down a little bit, and then a search feature
Yeah.
pops up, and then
okay.
search.
Oh, okay, like here?
And that's it. Go ahead and type iCloud.
Okay.
Did you type iCloud?
iCloud. Okay, I've got it in there. Yeah, and
Or
it says
does it-
Drive, Mail, Photos.
Put it closer. If you don't put it close enough, I don't think. Okay, so
Right.
if it says Drive, oh, there you go. You have the Files one. Click on Files.
Okay, all right.
That's the one I have. Click on Files.
Okay,
And when that opens up, those should be
Okay.
files.
yeah, it shows me something like some recents.
Um,
Can you see that? I don't know.
put it down a bit so I can see. There, it
Okay,
shows you
yeah.
some, that goes to recents. Don't you have like a folder underneath that lets you go to folders? Go down and see what options are at the bottom. Does it say, let me see what my files says.
Okay, that says Browse.
You have recents on the left, and on the right you have browse.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
there
they're
we
on
go.
browse.
Yes, okay.
Yeah. So it seems to me from what I'm seeing, you probably, do you have your iCloud and your desktop and your documents on the cloud? I think not, but what I'm seeing.
Maybe not. Yeah. Maybe
You look
not.
at your
I know I
computer.
have all my photos. My photos are all on the cloud.
Yeah, photos, yes.
And
But
music.
this is not, the
Yeah.
iCloud Drive is not for photos. The iCloud Drive is just for documents. Do you have
Okay.
your desktop and documents folder on the cloud on your computer that you know of?
Yes, I'm sure I do.
So then go ahead and do a search for the iCloud app. So then
Okay.
if it's
All
not
right.
coming up, like I don't have the iCloud app, see, let me show you mine.
Okay.
And when down at the bottom, it says recents or it says browse, right? And when I go to browse,
Right.
it gives them the option. Do you want to browse stuff that's on my phone or stuff that's on my iCloud Drive? And when I do that, I see all my folders in my iCloud Drive. You're not seeing that under browse?
Well, when I hit the browse, it doesn't take me anywhere.
Then
this
maybe
is what I have here. I don't know if you can see it.
yeah.
Let's see it lower.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. So there you have iCloud Drive. So click on iCloud Drive. It take you exactly what you want.
All right.
That's exactly right.
Okay,
Click on
yeah.
iCloud Drive.
Okay. Yeah. Then I've got
And then-
downloads, pages, text edit. Yeah.
So you don't have desktop or documents there?
No.
Can you
No.
share your screen with me? I want to confirm whether your stuff is on the cloud.
Okay. Yeah, I will.
Because you should be seeing your desktop and documents folder there if your stuff is on your iCloud Drive.
So, I'll stretch this out a little bit more so you can see it.
Go ahead.
See, all this shows
Double click the iCloud Drive for a second right there.
okay.
If it's your own computer, you can say yes or no. I mean, it's up to you down low. So yeah, you don't seem to have your desktop and documents here. Let's go to the Finder. Can you go to your icon, for Finder window icon?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lot
no,
of stuff.
no, see, you don't. Your documents and desktop are not on the cloud. See over
Okay.
there, documents and desktop, those live on your computer and they are only
Okay.
on your computer and nowhere else. And if you want them to move up, you need to check that check mark. Then you'll find them up on your phone. But right now,
Okay.
your desktop
Okay.
or document folders are not on the cloud.
Okay.
And if you
All
want
right.
to switch that in the system preferences, click on that thing. And it's easy to switch it upwards to make them up. What's not easy is to take them off. So
Okay. And is there any trick if for some reason I don't have the same password on my phone as I do on the computer? Is there a way to redo all of that?
yes, you can change your passwords on your phone and your computer through the settings of either your phone or your computer.
Okay.
In your
All right.
system preferences, if you open up your system preferences on your computer, you can change your computer password. But you mean your Apple ID? No, your computer password or your phone password. Which one are you referring to?
Right. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to stop my share, I guess. Okay, thank you. Thank you for your help.
No,
Really
that's fine.
appreciate
No, but I know that my answers, you're saying, I don't want to bother you anymore. That's the kind of like attitude that I'm seeing from you. And I'm not, I mean it. If you want to change your passwords, open your system preferences on your computer.
Okay.
And under users and accounts, you can change your passwords for your computer. Or in your settings on your phone, you can change your passwords for your settings. I just don't know which password you want to change. So
I think it would be on my phone because I went to a lot of trouble to change this. I did it about 3 years ago, and I just don't want to have to go through the whole thing again.
all right. So then on your phone, if you go to your settings, then you can change your under settings. Then depending on what password you want to change, but under settings, you can go into the iCloud there, and your passwords for different things would be changeable from down here. So if I just go just to my iCloud, watch. I don't know if you can see it, but just to my iCloud. If I, you have to go back to the beginning, right? And in your iCloud, not the iCloud, the general, you scroll down, and down there you see one of these says, did I pass it? Here it is, passwords and accounts right there. So you click on that.
Okay.
There you can make changes to your passwords to different accounts that you have. Okay.
Great. Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay.
All right. Dorothy, are you still there? I lost Dorothy. She wanted help with her mail, but this is her second computer. Okay. Well then, see you guys on next Tuesday, unless you're in my Friday class. Bye, guys.
Bye, Deanna. Thank you.
Take care.